Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Victory Drive. This week, I got on Luke Chatfield. Luke Chatfield, he is an Army veteran. He's been deployed twice, once to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. And on the Afghan deployment is actually the same deployment that I was on. So we were deployed together in Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011. We talked quite a bit about that. We're also on the, I guess you could say, historic for the Iowa National Guard, the historic Battle of Doab, and together. And he's just a grade A dude, really solid guy, and also probably definitely one of the best soldiers I've had the pleasure to serve with. He's done a lot in his career with the military. He's continuing to do a lot in his career in law enforcement. So towards the tail end of the conversation here, we do, I'd say probably right around the last half or so, we do talk quite a bit about his law enforcement experience and background. The first half is probably more of his military background. So we talk in depth about that stuff. That's a topic that is very easy for me to talk on just from my personal experience and everything else. So it's an awesome conversation. Once again, these conversations do tend to get a little bit long, which I love because it means we're getting really in depth and that conversation is really flowing. So hopefully you guys don't mind the long, in-depth ones. And, I think they're a lot of fun. So very interesting. He's got a very interesting guy. He's done a lot in his life. So he's probably going to be one that we have on from time to time here, as much as we can, because he's out there getting it. He's doing a lot with law enforcement stuff, and he's also an avid hunter. So we don't get into hunting as much here. This is mostly a background on him and his military past and his law enforcement present. So hopefully you guys enjoy the episode. And now on to the partners of Victory Drive. First, we got Grizzly Coolers. Grizzly Coolers, they make some of the best coolers known to man, I'd say. They are made right down the road in Decorah, Iowa. They are really solid dudes that are making them. Just a really great a company that you can really believe in, and they make some fucking badass stuff. If you guys are in the market for a new cooler, whether it's a hard side cooler or a soft side cooler, check out Grizzly Coolers and use code WCB at checkout to save some money and help support the show. Well, actually, the show's the whole network. They are now the title partner of every show under the Working Class umbrella. So if you guys really want to support the network, check out Grizzly Coolers. Use code WCB. Help us out. Help us help you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to regret getting a Grizzly Cooler. You're just not going to. They're awesome. Also, we got Black Ovis. Black Ovis is known as your one-stop shop for all of your outdoor needs. They've got everything from, hunting equipment, everything from archery shit to shooting stuff and, tents, footwear, everything you could ask for. They also have a lot of self-branded stuff. So that Black Ovis themselves make a lot of really good, high-quality gear just under their own name. So check out Black Ovis if you need anything outdoors related. Use code VICTORY at checkout for Black Ovis to save some money and support the show. Also, we got Huntworth. Huntworth Gear make an awesome, affordable clothing for your everyday hunter. It's high-quality clothing for a damn good price. Check out Huntworth. My go-to pattern right now is Tarnin. It's my favorite. Use code WCB15 to save some money at Huntworth. And also we got Mountain Ops. Mountain Ops is an outdoor supplement company. They have, everyone has heard of Ignite, the caffeine powder. If you're sick of buying gas station energy drinks and all that jazz, check out Mountain Ops. Get some a good caffeine replacement there. Also, they make everything else you could ever ask for in the supplement game. So if you haven't heard of Mountain Ops, then you've probably been living under a rock. And you can use code VICTORY to save some money at Mountain Ops. So without further ado, everyone, please welcome Luke Chatfield to the show. All right. Well, Luke Chatfield, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. So, gosh, I don't really know where to start, but I guess we could start with just your background. I guess I can start with where I met you and stuff. Is we were both in the military together in the Iowa National Guard, and you were at the time an FO. Were you a forward observer the whole time?
No, when I first got in the military back in 2002, I actually started as a mortarman. So same thing as you as infantry, just humping the tube instead.
Yeah, that's what Jordan did exactly.
Yep.
He's a mortarman the whole time. So then okay, let's just start back. How long were you a mortarman for?
So when I got in, I was actually a mortarman for 8 years total.
Okay.
And then I switched over right before our deployment that we went on together in 10-11. Switched over to forward observer then. So
you were one of the big, because there's a bunch of guys that changed to FOs.
Correct. Most of the forward observers we had actually switched over right before the deployment.
Yeah, a bunch of guys from the old scout platoon and stuff did too.
Yep.
I think so. I think there was quite a few guys that switched over to FOs.
Yeah, right before the deployment, I think there's actually 2 or 3 of us that were mortarmen that switched over, and then there was a couple scout guys that switched over right before.
Why was that? Why is there a bunch of guys that decided to become FOs?
So about that time, they actually reallocated the military a little bit, at least the Guard did, to where scout or the forward observers were actually with infantry along with the cav units.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did that, they were filling spots, trying to make room and allocate some spots for the deployment. So opportunity came. I was kind of at a point where it was either promotion or stay where I was at for the deployment. So that's how I got my 6, is I switched over at that point.
Oh, okay. So there was for most of the guys, was there some sort of incentive, whether it was a rank incentive or?
I think it was the opportunity for a promotion for several of the guys to move up right before the deployment. And then some of them were just in a spot, especially infantry. Mm-hmm. There's only so many leadership spots. So it was an opportunity for the promotion and try something different.
Right. And especially when you're in battalion assets, like the mortar platoon or, the scout platoon, it's there's only so many. If you don't want to leave that and you don't want to go to the line somewhere, then
correct,
you're kind of fucked, I guess.
And a lot of us looked at it as still an opportunity. We're still leaving with the same guys, deploying with the same guys that we've been with. We're just doing a different job. And
I think that's pretty sweet, honestly, because then you're getting FOs that you already know and you trust and everything else. So it makes sense rather than bringing a shit ton of new guys straight out of AIT or from wherever else,
Yeah, because we've seen it anyways with guys that were from other states, other units that we had no clue showing up with us to fill spots as it was. It's an opportunity to at least keep a lot of the guys together that we knew and worked with. So
right, yeah, because we had in the scout platoon, we had 2 guys from Oregon jump in.
Yeah, I think we had FO wise. I think we probably had 4 or 5 that we didn't know. A couple from Washington, a couple from one was from Texas. So it filled some spots, but you got to learn to adapt with them and figure out what they know and learn to trust them.
Yep. So. Yeah. When did they come in? Did they come in before we left, or was it right around Mississippi time?
I think it was around Mississippi time, which I remember correctly when we got our forward observer guys.
Yeah, because that's when we got. I'm trying to remember. I think that's right around the time when Morgan and Kane met up with us over there. I think it was right around Mississippi time too. Yeah. That's kind of weird. A weird time. We've already been training together and everything else. So, I was new to the Army at the time still. So I didn't I wasn't super tight with all the guys in the platoon yet, I guess, but still tighter than meeting them in pre-mob. So
correct. Yeah. Makes a difference. You start learning how people operate and then you start picking up new guys that got to learn to adapt a little different and figure out who's better at what and where you want people at before you go. So.
Gosh, honestly, if you think about it, that's kind of a ballsy move for you to go from a different state to deploy with a different state, because then you're surrounded by guys that you don't know at all. And with us, it's okay, we have a guy that we don't know, but we still have each other, I guess, that we do know. So to come from a different state to jump on a deployment to Afghanistan, especially the one that we went on, it's kind of man, that's a big move.
Yeah, it's a big self-confidence check right there.
I don't know if I'd do it. Honestly, that'd kind of be weird. Yeah. I don't know if I could go to a different state and just deploy with them and be yeah, what's up, boys? I'm one of you now.
My brother did that in the Air Force. They did that all the time. Even active duty guys, they'd pull 1 or 2 from each unit or whatever to fill for a deployment. That way the units are still operating back here, which he'd build bombs, load them, test them, stuff like that in the Air Force. So yeah, different environment, I guess. But
yeah, I feel that's different. I think it's a little bit different just because the nature of the job, I guess. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I guess being an FO might not be as weird just because you guys kind of get prostituted out to the either like to a line unit or scout platoon or wherever else. Like you were, because how many FOs did Charlie Company have? Because you're in Charlie.
Originally, we started with 4. One of them ended up going down a battalion. Actually, I think we sent 2 to a battalion and we got 1 back in exchange. So it ended up at the end, it was just 3 of us.
Okay. So you're going over there with like 3 of your other friends and stuff, but
yeah,
you're surrounded by other, I guess, guys, like either just regular infantry guys. So
correct. Yeah. The only advantage was with being a mortarman already with headquarters and headquarters company, just at the detachment with the scouts originally. We're up in Charles City there. I'd worked with a lot of them guys, plus the guys down at headquarters. So, I mean, I was pretty fortunate going forward. Yeah. And then a lot of the guys in Charlie Company, prior to my second deployment with you, my first deployment, I worked with a lot of them guys. We got sent down with 168 the first time to Afghanistan. So I was fortunate at that point that I knew quite a few of the guys in the area. So
good. I do kind of want to back up. So, like, what made you want to join the military? I was interested in hearing that.
When I was in high school, I was not a school kid.
Right.
My job in school was to figure out how to get out of there as fast as I could. I wanted to go work, did not want to go to school. I'd rather get a paycheck for going somewhere than going to school. So didn't know what I wanted to do. I had interest in law enforcement back in high school. Never really pursued it. I grew up on a family salvage yard. So what I did growing up my whole life was work on vehicles. So I just kind of fell into it. Started actually right out of high school working in the ag field, being a mechanic, working on equipment for the ag. After that, didn't know what I wanted to do, but right before I actually left high school, graduated, I decided to join the military. Figured at least then, if I did decide to go to school, I'd get some of it paid for, plus give me some life experience, give me some time and figure out what I wanted to do. So I joined the military. Actually, it would have been September of 2002. Went to basic training, actually in 2003, after technically graduated. Deployed February of 2004. So right out of basic training, I got notified like 30 days after getting out of basic training in AIT that I was going to Afghanistan my first time. So we ended up in Afghanistan 04-05.
So
my first deployment.
You were, what, 20?
No, I actually didn't turn 21 until after my first deployment.
Dude, that's exactly what happened to me. Yeah. That's funny. Okay.
So, yeah,
Damn.
I think,
all right.
I think I was like 19 when I was in Afghanistan my first time. So it was a big life lesson and life check right there.
Yeah.
Figuring things out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. So you're 19. So that's funny because that's exactly the exact same age I was when I went to Afghanistan. So, I guess, how did because I know how I felt and everything else, but how did you feel like when just out of high school and basic training, then you don't really have a shit ton of life experience and stuff, then it's like, hey, we're going to Afghanistan.
Well, not only life experience, you just learned how to do a new job that you haven't actually really even done. You're like, okay, so I'm gonna get 1, maybe two drills before, and that's all gonna be mobilizing. So after going through that, you realize you ain't doing your job anyways. You're working on getting equipment set up and checked and fixed and ready to go. So when I got the first phone call and notified, actually, my recruiter called and gave me a heads up that I was going to be getting deployed. And I was like, yeah, you're kidding. He goes, no, you're going to Afghanistan. I was like, no, I'm not. So that was how that went. Yeah, it's a big eye opener. It's a big self-confidence check, like I said, and trying to figure out, where you stand and trying to figure out, make sure you know how to do your job. I mean, as you know, day to day over there is pretty easy. Just gotta make sure you don't get yourself or anybody else killed. I mean, it's the way you look at it. You don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about food. They take care of you. You're fed. You don't even see your paycheck. It just goes to the bank account. So it's one of those things. It's just day to day, make sure you don't get yourself or anybody else killed, and do your job the best you can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, easy and simple for sure.
Yep,
easy. I mean, there's times where it's definitely easy, but it's just like it's very simple. Like you said, it's a very simple life. It's literally like wake up, chow, work on not dying, doing mission, trying to conduct missions as well as you can, and everything else. So
correct. Yeah. I mean, there's way more downtime than a person expects over there, for the most part. I mean, I was busy because, like I said, my second deployment as a forward observer, there was 3 of us. So I was running every day. There's 2 or 3 missions a day, and a lot of time it was me or one other guy were out every time because being JFO certified, we controlled the aircraft and everything too. So it wasn't like we just sent the other guys with, because if something happened, we wanted to be able to have aircraft on station. So most of the time I was running 2 or 3 missions a day, sleeping between them, getting chow in. I mean, it was fast paced if there was missions going on.
Yep.
So
yeah. So like on your first deployment to Afghanistan, because you were mortarman at that time.
Correct.
And were you more or less doing like base security, or were you humping the 60 millimeter tube? And
so my first deployment, we were actually broke down. The company I was with, we were a platoon size element is what size of our base was. So we had some assets and stuff that were attached to us, but we did it all. I mean, there was 5 of us that were mortarmen. We did base security when we were there, and then we'd break down, send one 60 millimeter mortar gun out with convoys. So we did convoy security. So we always had one of our mortars out there with them with 2 guys. So we did both of them, but missions weren't as consistent. I mean, a mission would be like 1 a day. Obviously, second time we were there, we were running, 2 or 3 times outside the wire, depending on what we were doing that day or where we were going. So we were a lot busier second deployment.
So in 04, 05, I mean, you guys were doing, you said you were doing mostly convoy security at the time?
Yeah, pretty much everything we did was convoy security for civil affairs.
Oh, okay, for civil affairs guys. So was that like, I mean, as far as that deployment goes, because I know like how ours went, were you guys out there essentially as the Iowa National Guard, or were you attached to a active duty unit, or? So
we were under the 25th and 101st, which is actually kind of funny because the second time we were there, we were same units we were underneath, but we didn't have, but I think there was like 4 101st MPs with us while we were there. Otherwise, we didn't have anybody we actually fell underneath or were working with every day. Yeah,
because the way the deployment stuff work, like that, correct me if I'm wrong, but like an active duty unit, like division, has control over certain battle spaces at the time.
Correct.
And they're, operating in whatever areas, but a lot of times they supplement, or they have, guard units come in and they take over like a piece of their battle space. That's essentially what we were doing your second deployment, my first deployment, but is that same kind of scenario on your first one then too?
Yep. Okay. Same way. So Big Army obviously brings in active duty units, fills an AO, and then we just filled in and did the same thing. Only difference is our mission the first time wasn't like the second time. Second time, obviously, as you know, we were out there looking for the fight, trying to find the bad guy, going into places that they didn't want us. And then obviously
being pretty aggressive.
Yep. That's what our mission was, is to, keep our AO, keep them pushed back. And second time, we literally just went into town while civil affairs was doing their meetings and talking with the elder and stuff like that. And we just covered them, make sure that nothing was happening to them.
And that was pretty much the whole first deployment.
My first deployment was pretty much all that.
Did you guys get in like a lot of ticks and shit at the time?
So we, not near like the last time or the second deployment. The first time we had we found a few caches and stuff, doing some dismounted patrols and stuff just around our area, just to kind of keep presence. First time we did, we had a rough patch there. Ended up losing one of our guys during an ambush. Sniper ended up taking out James Kearney from Southern Iowa. And then a really good friend of mine still to this day, Kenny Lukes, lives over in Protivin, Iowa. He's like a brother to me, actually. Was my gunner during them as a mortar team, and he ended up losing an arm. So we ended up taking some RPGs that blew up inside our vehicle, and he lost his arm sitting next to me. So
shit.
So that was a rough day. Big wake up. I mean, first part of our deployment was pretty easy. Didn't have really much go on. Might have had a pop shot here and there. Like kind of the second deployment we got quite a bit of, but so that was our bad day. My first deployment. So.
God dang. Yeah, that shit is. So when did you get there? Your first deployment?
I'm trying to think here. So we got there during 04. Would have been midsummer, I think, July, August, if I remember correctly.
Oh, midsummer, okay.
And then we came home right before the 4th of July on our on the first deployment.
Okay,
so pretty consistent with our second one, really.
Yes, I was curious because when we went over there, it was like October, so it was like kind of towards like there's fighting seasons and stuff and everything else. But in 04, 05, that one, where were you at in Afghanistan?
So we actually built the base down in Sharana, so down in Paktika, Sharana, down in that area. So
Okay.
I'm going to say south central, but it's close to Pakistan border still.
Okay, but still the eastern side of...
Yep. So I was with Bravo Company 168 then, and we had 3 bases. Like I said, we were broke down by platoons, and we had Ghazni, Gardez, and Sharana. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, we literally slept in some tents. We overtook a abandoned Kalat structure that we used as our perimeter, had some corner towers and stuff that we set up for security, and we slept in tents for probably the first half of our deployment or better.
Jeez. Yeah, because those were eventually built up to be pretty decent sized fobs.
Correct. Actually, that particular base that we got down there now, or had down there, actually had a runway and everything built at it. So we lived in this clot, and then we hired out locals and contractors and stuff, and we actually built an actual base.
Damn.
Buildings and everything. So we got lucky enough we were able to move into it before we left, but it wasn't very much time there really compared to the time I think we spent in the tents. So
it's kind of cool to be like, you're welcome, guys.
Yeah. Here you go.
Fruits of our labor.
Yep. Pretty much.
Like, so that's kind of cool to be able to, like, I guess as the war, the GWAT went on, it's kind of cool to like look at that and be like, man, I built that motherfucker, dude. I had a hand in that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that
2 days waking up in the snowbank.
Yeah. Was that in like fairly mountainous down there? I can't remember.
No, it's more of the foothills where we were at. Yeah, it's a lot sandier plateau area compared to our second deployment.
Did you guys get a lot of like base attacks and shit? I feel like you would, but
not really.
No, really?
No, I think we had some threats and stuff like that. We set up our perimeter. We did, made our presence known a little more when we get the information intel on that. But for the most part, we didn't have, I don't think, any real serious base attacks.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, I also feel like in 04, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in 04, 05 time frame is kind of like Taliban. They kind of got their shit pushed in a little bit right away in the beginning with
I think
all the SF teams and all the bombs. Like we were just bombing the fuck out of them for so long. I think they were kind of like scrambled up a little bit during that time frame.
Yeah.
Did it kind of feel that way?
And even on our patrols and stuff, I mean, I think a lot of the locals thought it was still from the war, the previous war there before we went back,
Russia?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, I mean, we got a lot of people Twitter, like not realizing that we'd left and came back when we talked to people. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just say now, I guess, but on your second appointment, my first appointment, there's one village we went to that they thought we were Russians. I'm like, dude, it's fucking 2010, dog. Like, Russians have been gone since the 80s.
We were fortunate on the second because our call sign was Commando. Charlie Company, we were commandos. And when they hear us calling by call signs, I mean, the people are like, shit, these are special forces guys. Which we weren't. we were a long ways away from that. But yeah, I mean, we did good, but I mean, we let them think it.
Yeah.
Helped us out. So.
Well, and we had multi-cams.
Yeah.
They haven't seen the only people they've seen multi-cams before us were SF dudes.
Yep,
so they're kind of like, oh shit, they're bringing the big dogs. Like, yeah, the fucking Iowa National Guard, sons of bitches, dude, what's up, dude? But yeah, I mean, it is just so crazy. It's such a different world, especially being 19 on your first one, seeing all like a third world country like that, and it's a very bizarre feeling. There's a lot of eerie moments for sure where you're just like, dude, this is like the Stone Ages. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I can tell you what, it probably made a huge difference on my first deployment being guard compared to active duty building that base because, a lot of the guys, they had special talents and, from their real world job back home, you got mechanics, you got construction workers, stuff like that. So, I mean, out in the middle of nowhere, we could all use what we knew from working back home to, keep the base moving, building up and stuff like that on a day-to-day operations when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So.
Absolutely, dude. That's one thing I think, especially active duty guys, like I heard this all the time when I went active duty, like, oh, fucking nasty girl, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I think the National Guard is, if you're in the right state with the right people, especially, it's a very formidable fighting force just because we're fairly irregular. We don't do the same things that the active duty does. We don't operate the same way they do. So it's very different. But all the outside the Army skills that people have, it comes in handy way more than you'd think on deployments, for sure. Especially when it comes to building shit and like getting shit running and everything else. It's like a lot of guys are carpenters. So
and we train the same as active duty. I mean, so we're doing the same thing they're doing, but we got that extra little tool in our back pocket just by having, the real life day-to-day stuff. So
yeah. And on top of that, it's like when not every drill, but a lot of times, at least when we were also ramping up for deployment, but it's like a lot of the drills were, more focused on like higher quality training. And I can tell you from active duty, there's, I'd say like 95% of the time you're sweeping the motor pool, like sick. This is fucking sweet. Or staring at the wall, like watching paint dry. Like, this is so stupid. And just dog and pony shows and just dumb shit that doesn't really matter. And a lot of that, you just don't have time to do that stuff in a drill, as much. But, it's like active duty guys, they really, a lot of them, high school, Army, going active duty. So
yep.
They don't, not everyone. I'm going to have a gross generalization here. But a lot of guys, they just kind of stay the same age forever until they get out, So like you get some guys that are like, 35 or 36 and they're acting like a fucking 18-year-old. And I'm like, okay, yeah, besides in the Army, besides Army stuff, but when you talk to them like on a personal level, I'm like, damn, this is all you got.
Yeah, but in their case, they all they did their whole career was do what they were told.
Yeah.
It's very few. You see the guys that, active duty, they're in the same boat. They only got so many E5 spots, so many E6 spots. So some of them guys, if they make E5, that's as far as they go in a career, depending on if they move around and, the opportunities that come in front of them. But
well, and like you have to move around.
There still is an E5. We both know it. You're still doing what you're told.
Oh, yeah.
You just got the opportunity to tell 4 other people or 5 other people below you what to do instead.
Yeah.
So, it's tough. Yeah. They don't get the opportunity to learn what we do every day in real life, make decisions, pay our bills, decide what we're going to have for groceries, where we're going on the weekend, that type of stuff. So.
No, and I'm definitely not, and this is, like I said, it's a gross generalization, but it's like, there's the difference between the active duty Army, and obviously there's way more, like there's high speed fucking units out there that just train and do work, and that's great. I can only, and I was also artillery when I was active duty. So it's like much different mindset than being an 11 Bravo infantryman or even an FO, it's like, it's just a different mindset when you're 13 Bravo. There's some really good dudes and there's a lot of wieners. So it's just, I tell the story a lot, and mind my language on this one, I guess, but my first unit I got to, and this is a bad person to send to, like, they didn't send him. It just so happened that I walked in, the first guy that started talking to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's retarded, like actually mentally handicapped. I'm like, oh no, this is wild. Where am I? I thought I was somewhere else. I'm like, this is like the wrong place. This is the psych ward or something. But he was off, very off. And then I talked to someone else. I'm like, oh, never mind. He was one of those guys that the recruiter helped him on the ASFAB or something. So
gotcha.
One of those guys, got in during.
Recruiter need that extra one to get his bonus for the month.
Yeah, he did. The dude didn't even have his license. He was 32.
32 with no driver's license?
32, no driver's license. Like, dude, man, what's going on here? But that was a bit of a one-off, but it was kind of funny. I'm like, Jesus, where am I? This is crazy. I want to go back to the Guard. But, I don't know. I guess I think the Iowa National Guard is also, we have a good state, I think, for, especially when it comes to Guard stuff. But, so it's kind of unfair to compare the two. It's apples to oranges, but man, I felt way more ready for war when I was in the Guard with the scout platoon than I was when I was active duty. That's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, says a lot. But Iowa Guard gets deployed a lot too, so they keep us on the readiness.
We did. Mm-hmm. Now, so was there anything, I guess, else with the 0405 deployment that, I guess you guys covered that pretty good, but was there like any big like moments, I guess, and being?
No, like I said, we were pretty fortunate on the 0405, and I'm comparing it to 1011 second deployment, which was, I guess, not even really comparable when it come to firefights, ticks, base ambushes on convoys. It was, as you know, it was every day almost when we were over there second time. There was something going on. Mm-hmm. You'd think you're going to get a night's sleep and base would get attacked or a single rocket. And a lot of the base attacks that we had were, timed rockets. They'd take a water jug, poke a hole in it, set it up, and when the water jug wore out, it'd tilt over, make the connection, fire the rocket. Mm-hmm. And we knew a lot of that, but we still had our moments where the base was attacked and it went on for a little while. But the first deployment, like I said, it was, I ain't gonna say a vacation because obviously you're still in the combat zone, but in comparison, it was more like what we deal with here at home. You know, you may have to deal with somebody that gets pissed off at you at the bar or something like that, but pretty much the one day is the bad day. We still had some incidents where we hit an IED. You know, we had, as far as people getting hurt though, we were real fortunate. We had, unfortunately, we had Carney that was killed during the ambush, and
that was a complex attack. Was that?
Yeah, actually, looking back at it and everything, we were not properly informed. The intel was there. Supposedly, we went down to the border, Pakistan border, and when we went down there, they actually had a couple busloads of trained Chetnians that came in, and they set up on us. So they did the ambush anyway. I mean, identical to what we would. They had elevation, they had the gunpowder, they had trained snipers. I mean, they had everything they needed, multiple RPGs. Our vehicle was the tail vehicle or the rear vehicle, and our gunner took shrapnel from the waist up. And like I said, we had 3 RPGs. One of them actually exploded inside the Humvee with us. And then we had 2 that exploded on the back of it. That's where the shrapnel hit our gunner. And then the one inside that blew up, actually, the rod, when it went through the rear hatch of the Humvee, because it's on the old turtlebacks, the rear hatch had to lift up, so they couldn't up armor that. So it went in, exploded in the rear back with our gear. The RPG rod actually went through our mortar, the tail fins of our mortar rounds. Jeez. So we got lucky it didn't explode those inside there too. But unfortunately, like I said, a good friend of mine, Kenny, he actually was posted up. He had his left hand posted up. And he was looking out the small windows on those. They ain't very big. He was trying to look out to see if he could see anybody. Rod came through. There's the time there was, I don't know if they've improved. Granted, we've improved vehicles, but there was about a 2 or 3 inch piece that was just fiberglass that was above the floor in the back, or the center between the 2 seats, and then where the up armor started between us and the back. And the rod actually went through there and actually hit him just above the elbow and took his arm off. So.
Oh, fuck me. Oof. Yeah. Jeez. So that was just like happenstance that you guys just stumbled upon a fucking busload of Chechens?
Yeah, like I said, and the intel didn't get pushed to us too, so we had no idea going into it that they were even in the area. So
were they were like they weren't just like blowing through, like they kind of knew that.
I think probably when they crossed, they probably seen us there, knowing, and where we were at, there was only one road in, one road out, so that we had to come back through where they were at. And they obviously most likely had been through there before. They knew the area, and we were able to set up. The bad part is, even with pulling the TNC off our machine guns and the Mark 19s, we couldn't even elevate to the ridge line to where they were at firing at us. So everything we were firing back was not successful. I mean, it's one of those deals, fire back and hope it just scares them enough to back down. But they probably figured it out quick that we couldn't get to them. So, so we ended up, we got through it. Like I said, our gunner, the lead gunner was Carney, who was killed by the sniper, was the initiating shot. And then Kenny, which was sitting next to me in the Humvee in the back. We got the medical aid that we needed or that we could. And then we actually had the MPs from the 101st that were with us on it. They ended up breaking a tie rod on their Humvee. So we actually had to go back in the ambush, myself, and I think there was 3 other, our lieutenant and a couple other guys that went back in. And we were able to actually get those 4 out successfully. And then we ended up using incendiary grenades on their equipment that we ended up leaving behind. So.
Damn. So how long did that last for? Was it?
Well, like a lot of them, it feels like a long time, but it was probably, I'm going to say 10, 15 minutes from when it started to when we ended up getting them back out.
And it was just like, where like you guys were just essentially trying to fire back, trying to gain fire superiority, and realize like, oh shit, we got to.
Yeah, exactly. One of those things we just had to get through, push through, keep the convoy going. And luckily, with the MP's vehicles, so in the middle of it, there's a waterway that went down through there. Well, they had built up one side of it. You can go up over the waterway, or you can go down through the creek. And what it was, surprisingly, we couldn't see with the dust. You've been there too, driving in the dust. The MPs must have been either the first one or everybody behind them decided to go up and over to the left. They went down and actually ended up breaking the tie rod in the bottom of the waterway trying to cross it. So,
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's a bad time to do that.
Yeah, not a good time at all.
Fuck, dude.
So luckily, even with them left in there, we were able to get back in without them losing any of those guys. So
that's good. That's good. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, it's just a different thing because you were in firefights before, and they were just kind of like,
they weren't even compared to that. I mean, it was
not even comparable.
The first ones we had, it was literally a pop shot or two. You know, you get the local or whatever driving through town, you got that wall, they shoot a pop shot over the wall and they take off running. You know,
Jeez.
They don't stick around to fight because there's one of them. You know, it's inevitable that they're going to lose if they stick around and fight. A convoy of guys.
So I mean, because when that first started, you guys knew like right away. You're like, this is different.
So we heard it on the radio. We obviously heard the gunfire and heard it on the radio first, ambush, before we were even in it. So we knew going in as the last vehicle that we were going to get shot at, and we weren't even getting shot at yet. But we had to continue to push through because, unlike this last deployment, rarely did we have non-up armored vehicles in the convoy. Well, the civil affairs were actually running around in Toyota Hiluxes and Ford Rangers. They're not up armored or nothing, so we couldn't leave them. They'd been done if we didn't go in with any firepower, so we had to push through with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's your job too. When you're there, your job is to protect them, knowing that what they're in and everything else. So
correct. Second deployment, you could stop 2 or 3 vehicles and kick them out and do an L-shaped ambush, try re-ambushing it, to eliminate the threat. But we couldn't the first deployment. We had to stick with them and protect them. So
yeah, it's a totally different scenario there. When you're doing security and stuff, it's like your objective isn't to necessarily close with and destroy the enemy at that point. It's like,
correct.
You're in protection mode.
Yep.
So
yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, in that instance too, it's like, I mean, I would have rather been able to dismount, try to get up on them and stuff rather than, if you had that freedom to do that. It's like getting stuck down there like that and you're just like, we gotta go, like we gotta push through this and push through the, get off the X and get out of there kind of deal.
Yeah. And first deployment wasn't like second deployment by no means either. We didn't have air support as easy. I mean,
it's 04. It's completely different.
Yeah. I mean, second deployment, you could plan by far days in advance and have aircraft on station or overhead at the time of the deployment, pushing through where the choke points are known to be at, where you're known to have your firefights at and everything else. This one here was, I don't think we had them on station until the medevac landed and they were there to protect the medevac. So we didn't actually have any air support. We had 160 gun with some bad rounds that we couldn't even use. Jeez. And then we had, a couple machine guns, a Mark 19 that locked up that we couldn't get fixed. I mean, it was
that lucky motherfucker that he hit your guys' rounds. Like, imagine if you could have gotten out and at least lobbed some mortars at him.
Well,
it would have been.
So once we got set up for the medevac, we actually did firing some of them. Don't know if we should have or not, but they worked. I mean, it was one of those deals where we knew where they were coming from and we knew there was no civilian casualty damage that we had to worry about because of where they're at on the mountainside and everything, or on the hillside. So we did fire a few of them, and then the rest of them we ended up getting to a base that night, halfway back to ours, and we crashed there to fix some equipment, stuff like that. And we disposed of our rounds there and got some new ones. So.
Jeez. Yeah, fuck, dude. So then after that, how much longer did you have left in your deployment after that?
Oh, we still had probably 5 months to go.
Oh shit! So it was like
we were down for a while, about in the middle of it. Yeah, when we had that.
And everything else after that was pretty like similar to before. Like you guys didn't.
Yeah, we didn't. After that, I mean, minus our morale was down. Obviously. 3 of our guys are sent home at this point, so we lost 3 guys on the deployment, put us short. I mean, you're talking a platoon size element anyway, so it's not like you got a lot of guys there. And I don't remember getting backfilled any guys either, so it's not like they sent us some fillers. So we ended up, morale was down a little bit, but we pushed through. And I mean, we got, like I said, we got shortly after that, I think, is when we got pushed to our new base. So
okay, all right. So then you come home, and so when you came home and everything, what did you like? You were basically straight out of high school, so what did you do in between?
Well, like any of us that come home, get drunk and stupid for a little while, and then back to work. I mean, back to the normal life. Got to hang out with some of the guys that met overseas that I didn't know before, a few times here and there.
So you're still doing mechanic work and stuff. And
so at that point, yep, I went back to work. Actually, I was working for Short Rock Implement. Went back to work there for a little while. Then I ended up becoming a truck driver for construction crew. Did that for 2 or 3 months, and then I actually ended up over at Zips Truck Equipment in New Hampton. That's where I ended up working, and about 7 or 8 years I worked there. So
okay, were you doing mechanic work there, or were you trucking?
Yep.
Okay,
I was working on refurbishing and working on service work for wreckers and tow equipment.
Oh, okay. Damn, so you're a mechanic for quite a while then.
Yeah, most of my life I was a mechanic up until I got into law enforcement.
Okay.
So
yeah, we'll get to that because I'm interested to hear about that too. But so you were basically mechanic work, then you were a mortarman essentially that whole time until the workup for your second deployment to Afghanistan.
Yep, until 2010, right before we started to mobilizing and working on that. That's when I reclassed to Fort Observer.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of when we met, like, because I knew of you before, and we didn't really know each other very well, honestly. Especially having, first of all, you're an E6, I was a fucking private, so it's like I'm not gonna be like, "What's up, buddy?" You know. But I always knew of you just from hearing like Roe and some of the other guys talking about you and everything else, and like, you always had a pretty great deal, a great respect amongst all the guys that I knew you pretty well and stuff.
Yep. So it seems like I was fairly well known after the first deployment. Obviously, I was one of few back then that had a Brown Star. So due to the ambush, so I was actually, as a mortarman, I didn't get very much time as a gunner, if any. So I was familiarized with, as infantry guys, as the Mark 19, the machine gun, the 50 cal, all that. I knew how to operate them, knew how to tear them down. I mean, it's still one of our skill sets that we did, but it wasn't our primary job. So for me to get in the gun and go back in the ambush as the gunner was very uncommon.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 2 other guys that were probably more capable and more familiar with the machine gun and the Mark 19. We actually had the Mark 19 when we went back in. And so I actually ended up being awarded the Bronze Star for what I did as a machine gunner going back into the ambush for the MPs. So
wow.
So when I came home,
okay,
I was it's unlikely I think I was an E3 when I got awarded that. So I think I was still a private at the time, maybe a specialist when I had it.
It's pretty fucking
So as a Bronze Star, as a private or a specialist is, National Guard's very uncommon at the time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of guys knew me from that and from the previous deployment. So as one of the few that was still around in 10-11 from the first deployment with 133, I was well known, I guess. So
yeah, I know a lot of the guys that I knew spoke very highly of you. So I was just knew you as Chatty and everything else, and you were a fister, but you weren't necessarily. We didn't do a whole lot of training together beforehand either, like on the work up to and everything else. But because you guys were all still in your fister elements during.
Correct. I don't think we did a whole lot of work with you guys until NTC. I think that's when we started more hanging out and working together, doing different stuff together. It was probably NTC.
Yeah, that was a lot. So then, so you became an FO. When did you go do JFO training? So
I went to JFO training right before we went to Mississippi.
Oh, you did right before we went to Mississippi.
I had my JFO certification along with, I think Obermeyer and Shannon, I think, had theirs at that point. Okay.
I do want to, if you could just explain it real quick, I think we kind of gloss over that just for people that don't know. Again, FO, being a Fort Observer, what that job entails and how being a JFO is different, if you just want to break that down real quick.
So as a Fort Observer or an FO, your job is to call for indirect fire. So you're using your training and your skills to call for indirect assets. If it's a mortar round, artillery round, there's very little training that incorporates using rotary wing aircraft or assets, helicopters, and the fixed wing. As a JFO, you're actually trained to deconflict the air to make sure you can still use assets of indirect fire mortars and artillery and still bring in rotary or fixed wing to use as assets and make sure you're not having that conflict of shooting one of your own aircraft out of the sky.
Yeah, that sucks. That's not what you want.
No.
You don't want to see a multi-million-dollar piece of machinery with some dudes in there flying down when they're trying to help your ass either. So.
Correct. So they don't take that very lightly when they're coming on. So they expect, that information, and that's part of your training is if you have artillery flying already as they're checking in, which can be, 1 or 2 minutes out. It could be 5 or 10 minutes out, depending on what you got for comms, where they're coming from. We were very fortunate where we were at on the second deployment that the fueler was directly above where we were stationed. So, there's times where we'd get into troops in contact over there, and I'd call for assets, and they would be like, hey, we're 3 minutes out, we're fueling right now. But I was able to get their eyes on target. So as soon as they disconnect from the fueler, they were coming in hot. So it worked out quite well multiple times that we had rotary or fixed wing aircraft there within, 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, those guys are fucking giant in the spot a lot of times.
Yeah.
Where it's like, geez.
Yeah, it was nice having them there when you needed them.
It's really nice.
And there was a lot of times, second deployment, we needed them.
Yeah. And a lot of times we were outside of the range of, 155s. Like pretty much every time. Actually, we rarely ever had artillery assets when we were outside the wire.
Where you guys were at and the areas you were at, it was difficult. Where I was at, they could reach about anything we had. And I don't know if you knew, but and I'm sure we'll get to it, but DOAB, they were actually prepared to fire.
Oh, really?
They could have reached us, and they were wanting to fire, but they were at max range on wraparounds, and that's a long ways for have a little bit of mistake added into it. So
yeah, still, it would have been kind of sweet to.
I would like to do
that.
I could have said I'd done it, but they were ready to fire. But that's a long ways to shoot around.
Yeah, it is a long ways. So how many JFOs were there?
So with Charlie Company, we had 2.
You had 2. Okay.
Yep. Jordan Masters and myself. So Jordan actually left country and he went to do his training during the deployment.
Okay.
And then you had, with Alpha Company, you had Shannon and then you had Turner. Those 2. And I think Turner also left during the deployment to get his certification.
Yeah, I think he did too.
Obermeyer was down with Delta Company. I don't think he had anybody else with him. And then you had, I believe it was Sergeant Voight.
Okay.
With you guys. He was JFO certified also. I think that's all we had at the time of the deployment.
So is it normal to have that many JFOs? Is that pretty standard?
Actually, I found out now, it's part of their FO training now. When they go down and become an FO during AIT initial training, they actually certify them now.
Oh, good. That makes sense.
So it does. Being able to do it, the asset is 100% worth it. It's compared to just being able to fire artillery rounds versus taking that when you can't reach with artillery, being able to call in fixed wing or have all, there's multiple times I had artillery flying out of our base, rotary on station and fixed wing flying high. It's a game changer.
It really is. Yeah. That makes total sense. I always kind of thought, I wonder why not everyone's, JFO certified and everything else.
So it wasn't very common back in 10-11 at the time. I don't know if it was something new they were coming out with to break that gap between a Ford Observer and an Air Force JTAC. But it's come a long ways.
It's not a whole lot. We only had JTACs once when we were over there, as far as we went. But.
So actually, as a JFO, I worked underneath the JTAC. So when I was calling in, I wasn't actually authorizing the rounds to be released off of fixed wing. So what worked out well for me is I worked very closely and very well with the JTACs that we had at our base at Calagoosh, that they listened. I controlled everything. And as long as they didn't hear or see something they didn't like, it was cleared hot. So ultimately I was pretty much in control of everything. But you get a pilot to release a bomb for a JFO, that pilot's putting a lot of risk in them because they own that round. Once that round leaves their aircraft, they still own it until it explodes. So you got a lot of people putting a lot of trust in a guy in the middle of a firefight while getting fired at to make sure the rounds are going where they're supposed to.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, honestly. So when you got when we did our workup and all that stuff for Afghanistan, and I've talked in depth, is pretty sure it's pretty much the same. But when we got into country, because you were in Calagoosh, that's where I went initially at first too. When did you realize that this is, or maybe it was before the deployment even, that this is gonna be a little bit of a different deployment than your first one?
So just by the way they were talking and looking at the assets they were breaking down that we were taking over, who they were putting where and everything, I knew going to Calagoosh was going to be a little more intense than some of the other guys were going to experience. And I also knew it was going to be way more intense from first to second just by talking to some of the guys. I was actually fortunate enough that I was able to email back and forth with the guys I was replacing, getting some of the information they had and talking to them. And the group that we replaced actually lost quite a few guys out of Calagoosh.
Mm-hmm.
They had their base was almost overrun a couple times. Their FO that was there, he had actually been shot twice. G4, so he was still there at the time. He'd actually been shot.
2 different instances?
Yeah, 2 different instances he'd been shot. So I knew going into it, things were going to be pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what the terrain was going to be like, really. They said it was mountainous. Well, we were kind of sitting in a bad spot, in my opinion. I mean, it was straight up both ways, on both sides. So getting there, seeing the terrain that we're going to be operating in and everything, I knew it was going to be a long year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, kept spirits high, kept our guys' spirits high, made sure guys knew what they were supposed to be doing. I actually, right before we left NTC, when we got attached to our companies, I wasn't with the company, but less than a week, and my first sergeant commander like, hey, you want to take over headquarters? Platoon sergeant. I'm like, I'm attached to your company. It's really not my job. And they're like, yeah, we really ain't got anybody else to do it that we got trust in, though. And I'm like, you realize I'm going to be busy, right? And they're like, yeah, we expect it to be your secondary. And I'm like, well, I really don't want a secondary job, but, really hard for me to say no, so right. I ended up doing it. And so I ended up in charge of, it was like 40 some guys. I had all of the headquarter guys. So I had all the cooks, the comms, meds or medics, everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, here we go.
Sick.
It worked out well. But I also had to make sure guys were, keeping on track. And some of the guys were a handful.
Mm-hmm.
Had to have some talks and do some paperwork on a few of them. But for the most part, we did have a really good group of guys up there that worked well. Commander and First Sergeant did really well on making sure the guys that were leaving the fence knew their job and were able to be counted on so that we didn't have anybody we had to look over our shoulder at.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, some guys just ain't meant to be outside the wire in a combat zone. I mean, not that they can't be trusted necessarily, but they're just not mentally or physically able to do the job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they might be able to do the job, but when you put them under stress or under fire, you don't need anybody locking up or not performing when they're needed to. So some of the guys did stay on the base most of the deployment, but they were very essential on the base. I mean, we found jobs if it was in the TOC or whatever, running radios, whatever needed to be done. We found them something to do to, utilize them and make them combat efficient. So,
yeah, I mean, Calagoosh wasn't a huge base.
No.
So, I mean, there's plenty to do.
Yeah, there's inside the wire was probably the size of 5 football fields, give or take.
Small.
I mean, not counting the motor pool area, but inside the main perimeter fence, it was small.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but there was somewhere around 100 guys, I think, is what we averaged there.
Yeah, it's pretty well fortified, though, for how small it was. Like, it was about as good as it could be, especially in that terrain. So,
yep. I mean, luckily, the one side of us, they had, 30 or 40 yards before it dropped off, and it dropped off a long ways down to the river. And then on the other side of the river, it was straight up. And then to the north and everything, obviously, had the pass going up towards Doab and the valley going down towards you guys. But everything was uphill pretty much from where we were at.
Pretty much. I remember when I first landed in Calagoosh, and I was only there for, a month or...
You guys were a month, maybe 6 weeks at the most?
Yeah, it was like right around there. But we got there and we just pretty much got our bunk beds made. And we were hanging out there. But I remember when I first landed and it was dark. And I'm looking around like, damn, it's fucking dark as shit out here.
Yeah, there's no light.
No light. And, and the next morning, got around to waking up and walking in the shower and whatnot and looked around like, oh, fuck. I'm like, dude. Yeah. There's mountains all around us. This is like,
when you pick a spot for a base, I wouldn't think that would have been the best spot for it.
I didn't think so. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm a private. I don't know shit. Well, I was a specialist, I guess, at the time. But I'm like, I don't know anything, but I feel like this is really an awkward spot for an army base. But
when you're talking about advantages and, they always beat in your head, you want high ground advantage. That is not the spot for high ground.
No, it's not. No.
Not when you're at the lowest point of everything.
Yeah. I feel like they just kind of like ran in there and there's like, yeah, this was a good place to hang out for a while and then just turn into a base. I just feel like there wasn't that much like thought put into it, but I didn't build it either. So
I didn't either.
Getting there and everything else, looking around, I was like, geez, this seems like a really good spot to get overran.
Yep.
If there's a formidable fighting force that had the cojones to do it, I guess. But
they tried before we got there. It sounded like a couple times. So we had some extensive base attacks, but nothing close to being overrun. So.
You guys didn't you guys have a fuel blob get blown up?
Yep, that was the same day. That was the first day I hit an IED. So my vehicle struck an IED that day, and that was the first one. Once we got on our way back, the base got attacked. We were on the way back, and then we ended up actually holding outside the base because the fuel bladder got hit by an RPG or something that incoming round that caused it to catch on fire, and there went all of our fuel.
That was wild. I remember hearing about that. I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah,
that's not what you want to see. Because those, I call it a blob because it's just, have you ever seen those? You seen those blobs like in lakes and shit? Like, there's this movie, I think it's called like Fat Camp or something like that. Yeah. They had this thing, they call it the blob, and it's just this big inflatable deal. Kid would be on one side, and another guy would jump on and flop him up. It's kind of what it looked like.
It's a huge waterbed is what it looks like.
Yeah, huge.
The old waterbed bladders is what it kind of looked like.
Yeah.
They're huge. Yep, just like the big pillows you jump on. Yep.
Yeah. I slapped it once. I'm like, damn.
They're hard.
It is. I think it looks kind of soft. Yep. You hit it and you're like, damn, that's a lot of liquid.
Yeah. So no, that was a long day.
Yeah, that'd suck. But I mean, so how long were you there for until you got your first firefight in Calagoosh?
Day 2.
Was it day 2?
Day 2.
Damn.
So we landed. Second day, we did we're supposed to be doing right seat, left seat rides, where we go out, learn the AO, everything like that. I think it was the second mission outside. Might have been the first. I can't remember exactly. And we mounted up. We went down about halfway down through our AO, just kind of checking out the main highway or the main road going down through that was paved. Got down, turned around, coming back. I don't even remember what was called at the choke point. You had the sharp left turn, and then it was real sharp coming back. And pretty much going around that, there's big, I ain't even call it a mountain, but a big foothill on the one side that they started attacking us from. And that was first one. And that was the big eye opener because, like I said, my first deployment, they didn't stick around and fight. Well, these guys, they stuck around and fight. I mean, these guys were there to actually kill us. So I actually dismounted and actually called for fire from the base. Had 120s coming out of the base, which would have been across on the backside of the village we were near. There's a big plateau, and they were firing from there, plus they were firing from the hilltop over here. Well, this was close, and our gun trucks and everything were engaged in, I'm going to call it to the north. I was engaging the guys with 120s on the other side, and actually ended up getting aircraft coming in. And we got back to the base, and the unit we were replacing was all pissed off at me.
What?
Yeah. So
for what?
Well, they didn't have a JFO, so they didn't understand my capabilities of a JFO. So they were pissed off because I was firing artillery out of the base, plus having aircraft on station. They didn't understand that was deconflicting it with the JTAC back at the base, and ended up having a show of force come also through the valley. And when we got back to the base, they decided they wanted to try chewing my ass. I'm like, I'm just doing my job. That turned into, we're done doing left seat, right seat. You got more capabilities than we do. We're not going out risking our guys no more. And I'm like, well, how's this work?
How is this to learn shit, dude?
Well, they didn't. They sent 1 or 2 guys out, and that was all they were sending out. We went out with 1 or 2 guys that showed our lieutenants and our key leaders the area a little bit. They refused to go across to, I think it was Philly, was the other, the dirt road. And they decided they weren't going to go over there no more because every time they went over there, either one of their guys would get killed or lose a truck or something like that. So we ended up pushing over there ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I guess kind of understand. They're almost home, dude.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I can see the light.
Yeah. A lot of their guys weren't even at our base. I mean, half their guys weren't even at our base at, day 2. Half their guys had already left as we were bringing guys in. So, so I can understand it too.
I can understand it. But at the same time, it's kind of like
we need to know what we're dealing with.
Kind of got to do, like, don't want to set up the incoming unit up for failure though either. You know, it's like you still kind of want to do it right, but I also get like, yeah, we don't want to die either. I get that too.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's a tough situation out there, I guess. But so what day? Do you remember what the date was on that?
I don't. I got a book at home somewhere.
I think I got into Calagoosh. I think it was October 27th, and I got my first firefight there in Halloween.
Yeah, because it was before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have gotten there.
I was
at least a week before I got there.
I think I was on the first or second flight into Calagoosh, if I remember right.
Oh shit, you might have been closer to a month before I got there then.
No,
right?
No, I think most of us were in 2 or 3 weeks time.
Oh, within 2 or 3 weeks? It
was pretty quick, I think, if I remember right.
I remember sitting in Bagram for fucking what felt like 10 years. Like I'm never leaving Bagram.
Well, anytime you sit in Bagram, it don't matter. It sucks.
Yeah, that was the worst. Yeah. That was the worst experience.
You can get good coffee. That's about it.
Yeah, and I didn't even drink coffee at the time, so I couldn't enjoy it. So I'm like, this sucks, period. Yeah. I just drank Rippets.
Yeah, and you got all the brass there. So, obviously you got to deal with the brass when you're walking around. So that didn't help.
I just stayed in my bunk. We played spades for like however long we were there for.
Took on the camel spiders?
Forever. Yeah. Yeah, spades and camel spiders. It's pretty sick.
Pretty much.
And farts. But,
yeah, no, it was quick. I think I was in Bagram for a week, if I remember right, before we went down. But I can't remember exactly what it was.
Ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But were you on the Halloween mission? I can't remember if you're...
Most likely.
You probably were.
First week I was there, I don't think I ever slept.
Yeah.
I think it was mission after mission. So I remember going to bed and waking up the next day to eat supper when they finally told me that they were canceling missions. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing you. I remember seeing like running around base a couple times and like, hey, and you're just like, hi, and doing something else. So I guess, but
yeah,
you guys are always super busy. You're always
between meetings and missions and
cooks,
and getting phone calls from battalion for doing things that they didn't want me to do.
Yeah.
I got that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because in Calagoosh, you guys operated pretty much just from base, right? And like in that area. That was your area there. Because we only, like I said, we were there for not very long. And I think we ran a handful of missions out of there before we left. Yep. And it was...
Then it seemed like a while before we even heard or seen you guys.
Yeah.
You guys went down there and it seemed like a while. You guys, I don't know if you started operating up in Alpha Company's AO for a while before you started pushing up ours, or
we kind of bounced around. We did a lot of stuff ourselves. Like we had a particular valley that we really wanted to deal with that was super hot. So every time we went in that valley, we'd get hit.
Yep.
And we just, that was like a lot of our time was spent in that valley, and then just in areas in the area. We did a lot of missions with EOD and stuff too, escorting them out, watch them blow up an IED, and then bring them back, and
gotcha.
Just a lot of stuff. We drove a lot because there wasn't like a shit ton of stuff to do in Medellin. We did some stuff in Medellin, the city, too. Like when Nancy Pelosi came through, we had to set up a hide site in the building. We had to take over a couple buildings and set up Overwatch for her while she walked through. And fucking it was so we got to watch her like shake dudes' hands and see what Afghanistan's all like, and like this is such a waste of time.
Yeah, that's the way it
Nancy
goes.
Pelosi.
Yeah,
for real.
Big tits Pelosi.
I've never heard this story.
Oh yeah. We
why'd she go?
We weren't briefed on her mission there, but they told us that we had a politician that wanted to come through. I didn't really know it was Nancy Pelosi at the time until the day of, and I'm sure they didn't want. I'm sure they're trying to be somewhat secretive about it and stuff. So we're told that we're going to set up Overwatch while she walks through the village, and
wow,
that was that. And yeah, we just sat up there and watched her walk around and shake hands, and I don't know, say America's here. We're here to help. Let me know if you need anything. I don't know what the fuck she did. She's surrounded by there's like a mob of multicam, and I'm sure there's a couple generals there and some colonels and some other poor peasants that had to follow her around. I don't know. But we were just sitting up we never had to talk to her. We never talked to her. We only saw her from behind the scope and binos, but we're just making sure if anyone was acting suspicious, we just let her eat, but nothing happened. So it's Medellin city, so nothing ever happened there. It's an actual like city, I guess, for Afghanistan.
I'm just thankful you're getting the look I normally get when my wife hears stories that she's never heard. Like, I've never heard this.
Yeah, I'm surprised that. I'm surprised that never happened. I guess came
after
up,
all the shit you've talked about her and we spoke. Never once you're like, yeah, she came over.
Yeah,
never.
Gosh, it's
wild.
A long time. I'm pretty positive it's Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, you're not 100% sure.
I'm like 99.9% sure.
Positive enough.
Yeah, I remember I told the story one other time. I did have to Google just to make sure because I was getting questioned like that. I'm like, was it Nancy Pelosi? I'm like, was Nancy Pelosi in Afghanistan in 2010? He's like, yeah. I had a picture of him. I'm like, yep, there she was. Yep. I was in the buildings over there. She's taking pictures and shit. So
nobody come visit us.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But we're in, Medterlam. That's where everyone's at. So they're like, I'm honestly surprised. Why didn't she go to like a bigger base? Why did she want to come see the Iowa National fucking Guard in Medterlam? Because
it's a box they can check on their politician stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I went into a combat zone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it was so boring. It was the worst. No, I shouldn't say it's the worst. Definitely had it worse, but it was boring as shit. And then we just collapsed down, walked out of the building, and walked back home. So we couldn't drive out there. We drove out a little bit, but we were trying to be all secretive. Like, oh, we're scout snipers, so can't let everyone know we're here. But it's literally full of people, and they watch us walk into a building. Like, this is weird. We should have done this in the middle of the night.
From what I remember, it didn't take long, and they knew you were there. Every time I had to come out there and help you guys out. Seemed like it was every time you're up in RAO, hey, you guys got to go help scout snipers. They're in another firefight. Yeah. I guess you probably found out after like a little late, but yeah. I remember the one day I came back from actual leave, laying on the ground, and here comes a private running out. Hey, you need to talk. I was like, I don't even got my stuff ready. Like, my body armor ain't put together, nothing. They're like, scouts are going to tick. I'm like, shit. And they're like, well, they're pinned down, and one of our units is pinned down with them. I'm like, how the hell? What are they doing?
They couldn't wait till tomorrow?
Going somewhere they shouldn't have again.
Yeah, we did do that a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we would have been fine if you wanted to take a nap or something, but I'm glad you didn't. So,
yep, I can't even remember the name of that valley, but
I can't remember the name of really much of those valleys. There
was a guy on top. I remember the guy on top of the building that kept popping up and shooting at the rotary that was flying above. And that pilot was pissed off. He was shooting back with his M4 out the door. Yeah, because I told him to get out of the valley, and they didn't like that. Mm-hmm. You don't tell us what to do. I was like, well, kind of do.
That's kind of my job.
I'm not dealing with our guys are out of the valley. Get out of there before you get shot down.
Yeah.
Don't need to go back in there.
Yeah, we were all over the place out there. I don't know. It's kind of looking back on it, it's kind of just a blur. Like, sometimes I feel like in my mind I get some of the firefights and shit mixed up with other ones, but I mean there's a lot of times where we'd be mixed up in a spot where, like, well, probably maybe should have maybe told Charlie Company they were going to be around, but I don't know. I know a lot of times I drive up to, because I did a lot of driving. I was my squad leader's driver I was pretty much driver the entire time when we weren't dismounted. But Sergeant Major always really, for some reason, I ended up driving him around a lot of places. And there's one time I went up to Calagoosh with him. We stayed there for like 3 or 4 days with him while he was just doing his thing, doing his Sergeant Major stuff, meetings, and
make sure he's up there talk to me about firing too many rounds.
Probably.
I got that a lot.
Keep it up.
I got that a lot.
Yeah. But I remember one time we were sitting in our hooch because Smith was the other driver. Yeah. And we were told to go fucking pull guard. We're like, what? Like, yeah, we need you to go pull gate guard or tower guard. I'm like, I don't think so. We're here with like Sergeant Major, and we kind of need to be on standby. I don't know. That's what he told us to say. And they're like, nope. We need all hands on deck. I'm like, what happens if we weren't here? Like, you just didn't have anyone planned for this for tonight? What the fuck, dude? He's like, you guys got to do it. So we went out there and we're like, all right. So we pulled tower duty that night. Came back the morning, and Sergeant Major was fucking pissed. Like, where the fuck were you guys at? Like, someone came down and said we had to pull tower duty. He's like, what? He's like, you guys aren't supposed to be pulling tower duty. Like we tried telling him that, Sergeant Major. I don't know. And he was fucking pissed. He's like, who was it? And so we told him his name, and I don't know what he said because I wasn't there, but I went and took a nap, and he was not happy about that. And he came back. All I remember is he came back. He's like, you guys aren't pulling tower duty anymore. Okay, I'm like, Roger. We're supposed to do what we're told by someone superior, but you should. He's like, you should proceed them, obviously. So, but it was pretty wild. I'm like, that was dumb.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Duty.
I don't think I sat in the tower the whole time I was over there.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have. You're an E6, dude. Like, you got a staff sausage up there pulling tower duty. Come on now.
It happened.
Yeah, well, but still, shouldn't be.
So, it does happen though.
Yeah, I don't know. None of our squad leaders or team leaders. Maybe some team leaders. Maybe there was one time where maybe they had to do it, but the squad leaders, I don't think the squad leaders ever really did. There might have been one or two times that they did, just because it's like a holiday or something like that. Like, we got this, boys. Thanks, but yeah, no, I don't know. We didn't pull a whole lot of tower duty when we were in Maryland either. There's usually plenty of other people. And we did, even though we're the scout sniper platoon, we had a couple of shit bags that they pulled a lot of tower duty for us because we didn't want to. And they weren't allowed a mission with us, so it's like, get your ass up there, bud. Like, I want tower duty like every other night. Like, yeah, exactly. That's what you get for sucking. Sorry.
That'll happen.
What else you want to do? Gotta stay gainfully employed. So, yeah, I don't know. So, as far as the 2010, 2011, since I wasn't in Calagoosh a whole lot, what was there like a defining moment of that deployment for you, I guess?
Well, like I said, we were about every mission, there was something that seemed to happen. You know, if it was a few rounds fired, IED, there was always seemed to be something that would happen on the mission. Very rarely did we have too many missions that we weren't engaged at some point. There was a few that stand out towards probably the middle of it. One of them that stands out, we were actually doing a dismounted patrol on the Philly side. And normally when we were dismounted, we couldn't talk to Metterlom. We could hit Calagoosh, but Metterlom was just far enough away unless there was a direct sight. We learned this mission, actually. They couldn't hear what was going on with us. So it was right about the time the 101st was leaving, 25th was coming in. We actually had a firefight that broke out. We pushed farther than we originally anticipated up in the mountains on the Philly side. And we had a certain lieutenant at the time that was pretty gung-ho and always wanted to push that extra distance, even when we shouldn't. This same lieutenant actually threw a hand grenade uphill at one point, which doesn't work very well.
Gravity dog. Come on now.
Yeah, we got lucky. He cleared the spot he was looking to clear by an inch or two at the most.
Oh, jeez.
So we got lucky he didn't come back down at us, but they pushed up, and actually he took himself and I think 2 or 3 privates with him, because all the sergeants were like, nope, we're not going with you, trying to get him to not go. I'm like, this ain't safe. Like, we're out of range of stuff. I mean, pretty much it's us and artillery or aircraft. Our gun trucks can't cover us where they're parked. I mean, we're already pushing to where we shouldn't be. So we started heading back down towards the gun trucks. They just said they're going to push up to the next little ridge. Well, that put them behind us probably 150 yards on the way back across the plateau. When I say plateau, we're talking nothing out there for cover besides rocks the size of baseballs.
Hell yeah.
Maybe a couple a little bit bigger. Not much.
Jeez.
So we get out in the middle of this plateau. They're behind us, like I said, 100, 150 yards, and the gunfight breaks out. So now we're in the middle of nowhere, bounding back, covering each other, trying to get back to cover. Well, we got back to where there was actually some rocks. There was one rock just big enough to put our medic behind. So we're pretty much flat on the ground, returning fire. Medic's behind. We're stealing her ammo because the guys are running out of 5.56. We're stealing her ammo. I'm on the radio. I got artillery flying, trying to get rotary on station or fixed wing on station. Well, like I said, 101st going out, 25th is coming in. Well, there's several ways we can call for fire. One's a grid to where we want the round to land. One is a direction and distance from our location to where we want the round. So it's called a polar mission. I gave a polar mission to the 25th, guys are running artillery at the base. And for active duty guys, we just had this conversation. Sometimes they ain't as smart as they think they are.
Yeah.
for some reason had no idea how to do a polar mission.
Oh, shit.
They've never done a polar mission, called for fire. And I'm like, how in the world did you graduate AIT if you know?
Oh, no.
So at this point, I'm beyond pissed off. I'm trying to call Rotary to come in because we have no indirect asset coming from the base. So I'm trying to call Rotary or fixed wing. I get a pilot on station. I could talk to the pilot. I could talk to the JTAC. I could talk to the JTAC or the ROMAD that's back at the base. Actually, he was on station too. So we had 2 JTACs actually at the time. And I'm talking to all of them. One of them couldn't talk to the bird, so they couldn't clear the bird hot. The ROMAD could, but he wasn't authorized to clear the bird hot.
Jeez.
So we couldn't drop. I mean, I got a bird up top looking at the target and they won't drop.
Oh, no.
Because of the communication issues.
Oh, great.
So, of course, it wasn't the first time I got yelled at for it. But I'm blaming Metterlom for not clearing air. Because it seemed like at times to get artillery or air cleared to make sure we weren't shooting anything out of the sky, Metterlom seemed like it was kind of hold up at times. So I'm cussing out battalion on the radio. That's when I found out at certain spots they can hear you. So luckily none of us got hurt. We eventually did get artillery to actually go, and then we ended up dropping a bomb at the end of it. But that was the turning point on understanding that just because guys are in country, when shit goes south, doesn't mean shit's going to go right. And like I said, fortunately, none of us got hurt. Nobody had any damaged equipment, whatever that was going to put us ineffective or anything. But we got back to the base. They wouldn't let me go in the talk because that was the point I was going to strangle somebody. The only reason we ended up getting any rounds firing from the base was actually there were some guys that running back and forth with their heads cut off on the base trying to get people to come to the talk that were needed. One of the 101st guys, I believe his name was Sergeant Smith, if I remember correctly. He was kind of in charge of the 101st guys, was outside having a cigarette, and it's like, what's going on? Well, they're pinned down in the open, and he's like, why ain't the artillery flying? And the guy's like, I don't know. They're in there, they can't get something's wrong or whatever. So he goes in there and he handles it, and he actually called me on the radio, and he just confirmed what I wanted, and like 15 seconds later, I get shot over. I'm like, thankfully, I know rounds are coming now. And once the rounds started dropping, obviously, like any other time, the firefight come to a quick halt. So
yeah,
that was probably the big turning point. There were some other big missions and stuff that happened. Seemed like firefights went a little longer. Not for sure if you were on the road on the Iowa side, the hardball, when we did the gun run with the A-10 Warthog between the village and right in those tree line between the village and the water. I think that put a eye opener in the enemy's eyes when we started, using fixed wing aircraft to shoot between a river and their houses. You're talking the width or a little bit over the width of a football field or so, 50, 100 yards wide, and we're flying fixed wing down through there and shooting up their bad guys. So
that's the one when, gosh, I miss his name now. He got shot in the ass, or is that a different one?
I think that happened prior. That was
we flew A-10s twice. I'm pretty sure we flew an A-10 on that one too.
Yeah, because I think the one you're thinking of, because I don't know that I was on that one. But
yeah, I don't know if you were.
I think it was the one where we crossed the water and it was fucking ice cold and we're walking like fucking chest deep in the fucking current.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
I ain't go.
You were in your truck, I suppose.
We were heading back to the trucks. We were going to this different area, and yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember if that was the one that Fo was trying to take a shit and then we started getting in contact.
Could have
or not, but yeah, one of those river ones, because there's distinctly that one was like, because that was when we had the TCP set up on the road, right?
Yep, behind the trucks.
Had the gun trucks up there, and we're running a TCP, and then the intent was to run a mission through the village.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Then we got contact.
It was right as we were crossing the river.
Yeah.
Some of the guys I think were still in the river. We ended up getting them out of the river, and then that's when they did the gun run because we were still taking fire from the trees.
Yeah, that A-10 was nuts.
Yeah.
They're so crazy.
I wish we could have done that more often.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, because it's one of those things where they probably feel pretty safe because like, oh shit, they can't like drop a bomb because we're right next to the village.
Yep.
So what are they going to do?
Yeah, we couldn't
hide in the trees.
It was either small arms and machine guns from the truck, or it was the gun run, and we got fortunate that we were able to get the gun run. So
that was awesome.
Otherwise, I mean, like you guys, I'm sure DOAB was the big.
That was the pinnacle for sure.
That's the one that broke a lot of people. I think put the mindset in some people that are we making a difference? We doing anything? Why are we still going out and stuff like that? I know a lot of the guys had the thought in their mind like, this is stupid. We just need to go home.
Yeah, because I was kind of getting towards the end of it. Like we're getting pretty. Like we're
we left in end of June, mid June.
Yeah,
it was like month or so after is all, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It was right around there. It's like we're getting close. Like we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and everything else. And we've all been, we're getting, we're doing a lot of shit. So we're getting fairly worn down. It's like starting to wind down. And we're like, okay,
because
we might be able to make it home. It's gonna be nice.
And they canceled that last big mission.
Yeah,
I remember that.
There's supposed to be one more.
Yep, there's supposed to be one big clearing, and we didn't end up doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I think DOAB put some change in some higher up mind.
Yeah, I think so too. That could have been terrible. That could have been really bad, dude.
Yep.
You're talking about,
how
many guys were there?
Yep.
Including NA, 60 something.
Yeah, it was gonna be huge. I remember.
Is all of us, and then you guys from Charlie. Then we had another 23 NA or something like that.
I think there was like somewhere between 40 and 50 US. I know that.
Yeah, and then we had however many ANA with us.
Yep,
I can't remember exactly. I thought it was like right around 60 something maybe total. But what?
Bad break.
Oh,
yeah.
You? Do you need to?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break. I don't know if that really helps.
It does.
Okay.
It does. I know it looks crazy. I need a little clapper, but when I go and edit and I plug the audio on with the clip, I have big spikes. And then I can match up the video with the audio so your lips aren't like delayed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason.
Yeah. See, when I'm doing just the audio side, it's kind of like fucking just, if there's a big blank space, cut it out, call her a night.
There you go.
But I guess the spikes, that makes sense when you're matching up lips and stuff. I don't really do a whole lot of the video editing because I'm
computer illiterate.
I don't know.
I am.
I'm fine. She's just better at it than I am. She's more artistic and she can do stuff better. I just haven't really wanted to try a whole lot either. And she's made a few videos. Like you made the video for Africa and stuff the first time, and made like a little music.
Don't
video
talk about that video. I can't even go back and watch that video because I was so amped up for that video. And I never edited anything. I was like, this is sick. And now I go watch it. I'm like, oh my God. It's like a glorified PowerPoint slideshow.
There's some
good parts,
it's
but
young. It's new.
It was. Yeah,
You're new to it.
Whatever.
But you've been doing a really good job on some of the ones like the deer camp. I didn't give you very much.
That one was fun.
That one, but
because you and Derek were really easy to make fun of in that video.
Yeah.
That was great.
I guess if the process ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff. But so we're at I guess DOAB
now.
Yeah. So I guess kind of like running through like your side, because I've talked about my side. Like I just had Schmitty on. We talked about it a little bit and his perspective and everything else. But that was a very big mission. It was the biggest mission or the biggest battle that the Iowa National Guard has been in since. Or I'm sorry, the 34th Infantry Division has been in since World War II.
Correct.
So it's a pretty pivotal moment in Iowa history, I would say. Not to...
It is. I mean, there's still people talking about it, from my understanding.
We are.
They still... Well, we are, yeah. We are right now. But even on the Guard side of it, from my understanding, there's a lot of talk about it. They use a lot of that for training for the actual guys in Guard still.
Oh, good.
I can't remember. Were you on the first flight that landed closest to the village, or were you on the second one?
I was in the first one.
You were in the first one. So you actually had worked back to us. Because I was on the second one. You
were with Williams and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, yep.
So I landed on the second one, got off. Originally, when we hit the ground, we could hear the firefight. It was going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think we were taking fire at that point until our bird lifted off. I think that's when we started taking fire and the mortar started landing. And that was probably one of my biggest oh shit moments, because they just left us. I mean, it ain't like that bird's coming back in the middle of a firefight and landing again to pick us up. So we're there.
We're dug in.
We were fortunate. Obviously, it was a planned mission. It wasn't just troops in contact called out. We already had aircraft with us. So that was a big change for us. I mean, having them with us when the firefights breaking out, they were able to help get information out right away for other assets to start coming.
Because like, all the air assets, they were ready to go. Like they knew that shit could pop off.
Well, I don't know that they knew necessarily shit was going to pop off.
But it could, though. Like, they were ready to rock.
But I think they understood that we were going in with the possibility. And as we all thought, we hear the number 40 people overtook a village or the Doab district. Normally that number's 4, 10, quite a bit less. So when we hit the ground.
And on top of it, too, is all the A&P, you could scare them off with some firecrackers. So we're like, yeah, okay, it could be 400 people, or it could be, like a squad size element that went through and said, get the fuck out of here.
Correct.
And they just ran.
And they would have left, They would have threatened their family or whatever, they would have left. So it wouldn't have been an issue. Mm-hmm. But when we hit the ground, and obviously, as you know, it was 360. I mean, we were fish in a barrel. I mean, you look at the numbers, you look at the location, you put it all together. Not one of us should have walked out there alive. I mean, it's how they screwed it up or how we get lucky, fortunate, whatever you say, somebody looking over us, whatever you want to call it. We shouldn't have walked out there alive.
No. With
the assets they had that they were using and what we had available at the time, granted, we had rotary on station and fixed wing coming. We should have been dead before the fixed wing got on station. Fortunate enough, we obviously worked together. We had enough experience and dedication to what we were going to do. We were able to overtake that little area up on the mountainside, slightly up the hill from where we were at, get enough cover to where we could dig in. And
how long was it, to your recollection, how long was it before we had any air assets?
So rotary was on station with us. They came in with us. We had, I believe it was 2 Kiowas were the first 2 we had on station, if I remember right. And originally the JTAC.
They came in with us?
Yeah, they escorted us in.
But they stuck around?
But they stuck around. They had enough fuel. They stuck around.
Okay.
I think they may have escorted the 2 Chinooks out. And then came back on. I can't remember for sure, but we were talking. I remember having them in my ear at the time, and the JTAC was actually talking with them.
I remember Apaches being there.
Apaches showed up
to escort the Chinooks back.
So it was one of the few times in Afghanistan that we had every available air asset in the country. So they pulled every air. I mean, the country shut down besides us. I mean, any convoy out had to return to base. Any foot patrol out, return to base. I mean, there was no missions run once they realized what we were in. So every fixed wing came to our location. I mean, they had everything prepped. They were landing at JBAD or Bagram. I can't remember where they were flying out of exactly. I know the 101st that had the Apaches and stuff, I think was out of JBAD because I was able to actually go meet with them after the fact. But I know it wasn't very long because we were rotating 2 in, 2 out. And I mean, it was quick. As fast as they were unloading, they were loading them at the base and sending them to us. We had everything coming. I ended up controlling all rotary aircraft, and the JTAC and the ROMAB were controlling all fixed wing. We had, I'm trying to think of the name of the bird. Pretty much it's a intel bird that was capable of running all air assets. They were controlling the stack because we had 6 or 8 fixed wing, I think, at times above us. And they were just one mission after another. I mean, as fast as the JTAC could give a fire location or a drop location for a target location on enemy, they were coming in, dropping a bomb, circling back to the top, and until they were out of fuel or out of munitions. Don't quote me on the numbers, but if I remember right, we ended up dropping 24 JDAMs that day.
Jesus.
It was somewhere around 10,000 rounds, if I remember correctly, of 30 cal off of the rotary. And I can't even remember. I wish I had my book with me now because I got it all wrote down. But there was a lot of actual rockets fired also.
A shit ton.
During it, I ended up leveling 2 buildings. One of them was actually the sniper that was across from the village. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh, yeah.
I worked with Jeremy Boer, one of your snipers that they were struggling to get the guy. And I remember talking to the pilot, and I gave him the targeting location and everything. They fired, they hit the side of the building. And I remember Jeremy Boer saying, any chance you can get one inside the building? I'm like, we'll find out. So I called him back and says, hey, we want to make sure this guy's, taken out. I was like, any chance? I says, they're wondering if there's any chance you can put one through the door to make sure, we take this guy out. He's like, I always like a challenge. I remember him. He's chuckling as he's talking about it. I always like a challenge. And he did. Pilot put one right through the door. The whole building come down at that point. So we knew we had to get him then. So
the pilots are fucking good.
Yeah. I can't believe with the firefight we were in and everything, where they were flying and everything, I can't believe we didn't have any bird actually come down during that.
Oh my gosh.
I remember after the fact, like I said, I got to go meet the pilots at JBAD, and they ended up having one bird set down or two birds set down at Metterlam.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Metterlam, Calagoosh. I think they had some set down at Metterlam too. They actually had issues. They got shot up enough that they ended up having to do some repairs at our base.
The Kiowas?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then they ended up sending down. They had show of force that we did with the fixed wing that had holes in that from the show of force. Guessing Dishka, if I had to guess. But so they had bolt holes in that. I think they didn't end up fixing one of the helicopters, and they had 2 or 3 other ones that had damage they had to fix. So obviously they were taking just as much fire as we were.
Dude, those Kiowas, first of all,
those guys are nuts.
Holy shit. Holy fuck. They're so crazy. Like, they were flying in. They were so close to the mountains every time. Like, when they're either doing their straight runs or even their rocket runs and stuff like that. I'm just like, you guys are like, it's like the Wild West out here, dude. You guys are really, really close. Like, I could see them.
Yeah, you can see
the
I'm
pilot. Like, oh my God. It blew my mind. Like, how ballsy those guys are. They're probably some of the ballsiest pilots. Like, honestly, like, obviously fixed wing pilots are ridiculously good in their own right. But I mean, those Kiowas they're flying so close, and they're
those
right
guys
there.
in rotary in general. I mean,
yeah,
what they do, I don't think they're right in the head myself, but
I don't know, man. They're crazy.
Here's one you probably didn't know. One of those pilots actually flew for Mercy Air Med out of Mason City. That was
really
overhead that day. I
no
ended up meeting him at the Fuel Express in Floyd.
What?
Yep, I was putting fuel in and had I was prior infantry before being a forward observer. So I had my blue cord hanging on my mirror at the time, my pickup, and he's like, infantry, huh? I got to talking with him. Turned out the guy is actually from Northern Iowa, and he is a good friend with one of the guys I was on my first deployment with, Justin Johnson. And, yep, he was flying overhead that day.
No shit.
Yep. He was on the way to fly for Mercy.
From around here?
I can't remember. Northern Iowa here somewhere.
Damn.
I'm guessing he's from over by Britt somewhere, maybe, because that's where Justin's originally from, is over by Britt.
It'd be so cool to connect with that guy.
Yep. So he was flying that day.
Holy shit, that's wild. That's a small world.
I could get his name. I can get old Justin. He'd be able to tell me off the top of his head. And
after we get off, I have to do that.
Yeah, because he's crazy. Just the odds of that.
Pretty slim.
So, yeah. And then meeting him, like I said, I got to meet him, and my first sergeant's like, hey, we're not going to be running missions for a few days. You want to go to JBAD? And I was like, for what? And they're like, you need to get out of here. Like, you need to get out of here for a day or two, because I ain't going to lie. I mean, as any of us probably were, we were shook up after that. I mean, to get into that extensive a firefight is rare for anybody in the military, let alone to survive it without any of us having but minor injuries. I'm going to say, some twisted ankles, messed up knees, but I mean, minus one of your snipers having bullet holes in a backpack and me having one in a cargo pocket. I think that's about as close as any of us took. So
I thought I remembered that, Ray. I was going to bring that up too. You got zinged right through the pocket.
Yep. So when we dropped that bomb danger close, it was like within 100 meters of our location. Actually, it was above us. So obviously we all felt the rocks and stuff coming down. But after the bomb landed, the JTAC and myself actually made it from the building we were by, calling for, across is when it happened. I was outside the building. Actually, I was outside the building before we dropped it, is when it happened. It ricocheted.
Did you feel it?
Yeah. Actually, I thought it was hot, hit in the leg. I dove in the building. Captain Gingrich was in there, or Lieutenant Gingrich at the time. No, it was Captain. Sorry.
He's Captain.
Yep, Captain time. So
Captain.
I knew him as a lieutenant too. So, but Captain Gingrich was in the building at the time, and I dove in, grabbed my leg, and we made sure. But yeah, it went through. I always carried in that pocket. I carried my AO map that we operated in, And then I also had my protractor in there that I used when I'd call for fire and everything. And it actually went through the map, but it never hit my leg and never hit my compass.
Oh, thank God.
So got lucky. I actually have the uniform at home framed. So that was the last day I wore that uniform. But
yeah, retired after that. That's good.
Yeah, so we made it over to your area, and that's when I dove in to, and I don't know if you were in that spot with the other guys or if you were out one of the other ones, but I dove in there, and that's when I jacked up my shoulder.
I was outside of I was really never in the building.
So were you in the dugout spot, or were you farther behind that with some of the other guys, like the mortars and stuff like that?
So the little animal pen that we were talking about, there's that building just outside of it, but there's like that rock wall.
Okay, so you were down just a little bit farther below. So you guys
just a little bit further below. Yep.
So it was you and God, who was it? Nugget?
Nugget was just down there.
Nugget was down there.
Yep, Nugget was down there. I know. Well,
there's only a handful of you guys down there.
Yeah,
so.
I know Williams was back and forth a lot, and Roe was up by you guys up in there a little bit more.
I think he was going back and forth a little bit too.
Well, they were all going back and forth. This is like I pretty much stuck down there with Nugget was down there, and I think Smith was down there too, and some other guys. But I was basically down there with the machine gunners and stuff.
Yep.
And I had my grenade launcher, so I'm just lobbing grenades.
Yeah,
doing that.
So, anyways, I ended up diving in there because that's shortly after I dove in there. I think I leveled that building where the sniper guy was at, and it wasn't long after that actually. This is when I had my pants around my ankles, getting a shot in my ass cheek for motion sickness because every time I drink water, I was dehydrated. I was drinking water, I'd throw up. So that was a experience.
Were you bruised at all? Like, did it hit you at all, or did you just feel like
I just felt
tug your pants?
Yeah, it just felt like tug of the pants, or kind of like you get a dog nips at your leg and they get your pant leg.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like.
Damn.
But
what else?
I didn't know what to expect. I figured I was hit. The firefight was going on. It was They're all over around us. So.
Wasn't any of us tugging our pants. So I mean, like where else could it come from?
Well, Corral might have when I had him around my ankles to give me a shot in the ass, but I don't know if he tugged on my pants necessarily. But yeah, that was a defining moment, I guess, too.
Yeah, that was like
being
really
in a firefight
close,
with your. People joke about having your pants around your ankles in a firefight, but I can honestly say I did.
Yeah, right.
So I had that.
I mean, that could have been really bad.
Yeah,
because that was up in your thigh area. Like if that would have,
that could have been a game changer.
Yeah,
I mean, because
really could have been. You sitting there
controlling
fire with the fucking tourniquet on your leg for the rest of the time. That would have been unfortunate.
Well, yeah, wouldn't want any pain meds for clear mind. Everything's the worst part about it. So
yeah,
let alone being shot, probably would have been bad enough. So we were in there for a little while. And then obviously it's the dark set in. And you weren't in there, but a snake came out of the rock wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm deathly scared of snakes. Like, I wanted out in the firefight in the bullets instead of the snake. I would have taken my chances. Luckily, God dang, who was it? Williams and somebody else dug that snake out and cut its head off.
Yep.
I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Dude, was it? That was when it was a bit of a lull.
Yep, it was a lull.
Because were you sitting up against the rock wall too?
Yeah, I was like,
I was like right next to you then.
Yeah, you had to be sitting on one side or the other of me because it come out. It was over my right shoulder, but I can't remember if there was somebody else. It was like right here though, because I remember somebody moving. Somebody moved, and
it was me, dude. I've literally told that story so many times.
He has told me this story many, many times, and you've told it on the podcast too. Because I encourage him. I'm like, tell this story. And it sounds like you guys had to have been shoulder to shoulder because wasn't it a viper or something?
I don't know what all snakes are poisonous in my eyes.
I like to say it was a pit viper, but I remember seeing a very large body snake, and I was looking up snakes in Afghanistan, and they weren't like nice. It was like a garter snake, you know what I mean? It was a fucking third world country snake. I
don't care. In my opinion, any snake bigger than a nightcrawler is deadly. I hate snakes.
That's hilarious, dude. That's so funny because I couldn't remember who was next because there's a couple of us sitting against the wall.
There was 3 or 4 of us sitting there. I remember that, but
oh my gosh, I think Foot was over there too. But
I don't know.
I remember getting told to get up, and I got up as Williams, Joe.
Yep.
And he fucking cut his head off with this stupid ass Marine Corps K-bar. I shouldn't say stupid ass because it was nice that he had it. But he would sharpen that thing all the time and yell at us. I'm like, fucking you and that K-bar, dude. But
I was ready to leave and go out in the firefight and stand out there. Yeah. I figured I would have been safer. I hate snakes.
I'll take my chances. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd personally rather get shot than get bit by a snake.
Yeah.
So I think you get bit by a snake, you're just going to die
slowly and painfully.
Yeah. And there's no way to get you out at that point. Like, what are they going to do? Calling a Black Hawk to get blown out of the sky for a guy that get bit by a snake? It's like, sorry, dude. Yeah. You're either going to make it or you're not.
Pretty much. So, and then to get shot at by the SF when they come in, that was another great time.
I know. Yeah. Schmitty was not happy about that either. Yeah. We were talking about that. He was out there, but they were.
Good thing they're terrible shots.
Yeah, right. I mean, they were accurate enough to be like, "What the fuck, guys?"
Yep, they were hitting close enough. But
I think this is mostly the ANA commandos they had with them.
Could have been, yeah, because
I think you couldn't tell them apart from how far away we were when they came in, because we got resupplied with that Black Hawk, and then it was like had to been like right after nightfall when SF came in with their commandos.
Yep, right after the snake, I think, because it was right before nightfall. They resupplied us and dropped it in the bottom of the fucking valley again. That was great. Great spot. And then
the good thing about them coming though is they brought AC-130 with them.
No, the AC-130 came with SF.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
After they shot at us, the one good thing about them coming in is they brought an AC-130 with them. Yeah.
They had the only two that were in country.
Well, they brought. Didn't they bring in the one and then the other one came in a little bit later?
Yep, because the other one was down south.
Yeah.
And they had two in country. We ended up with both of them, but the first one was the closest, I'm guessing, out of Bagram. And then the second one came from down south. That's why it took longer to get. But they brought both of them.
Did you call any of those?
No, I wish.
Damn it. That's all JTAC stuff.
I was actually the controller for the SF. JTAC.
Oh, was it?
Them, yep. Because their rules of engagement obviously are easier than ours.
Much different.
From my understanding, their initial call was anything hot outside this area, make it not hot no more.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much kill everything around. So
those things were nuts.
Yeah.
It was insane. I've never seen a mountain start on fire before.
Yeah. It's a distinct sound, that's for sure. Nothing like a humming noise and just kaboom, kaboom. Because you'd hear two. First one come out and then the explosion. So.
Yeah, when they're shooting those, because they have 105s on them.
Correct.
And it's like, yeah, you hear them up in the sky. You hear that faint little hum when it's quiet.
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay. And then it's like, boom. You're like, holy shit. Yep. This is insane. Like,
the guy can relax to that.
Yeah, that was nice. Because then we were pretty much like, after they came on, it's like, the fighting stopped
fast
pretty quickly after that. And they're just, there's nowhere you can hide. You can't hide from
them. That's the thing. They started retreating at that point. And then they were you could hear them just chasing them. I mean, we got 4 on from this location carrying a mortar tube. They're done.
Not anymore. Like, thank God.
So, I mean,
that was a long time. How long was that? That was a long ass time of us being there with like our fixed wings.
7 hours firefight, if I remember hearing correctly, but I can't remember. I think it was like what time we landed and what time you would consider it over.
I think it's like 12 to 13 hours or so until we got into the district center.
Could have been
right around there because it was the middle of the night. Like there's a long lull when the AC-130s were blowing up the entire side of the mountain. You know, of us, like we were pretty much done fighting at that point, which was nice, and be able to just like listen to them do their thing. That was pretty awesome. But obviously, you're still vigilant and being like, you never know. You know, they could have 1,000 more. I don't know. After what we went through, it's like they could have 1,000 more soldiers come over the side of that motherfucker, and you don't know.
Yeah.
So you're still vigilant, but we're also dead, tired.
Oh yeah, we were
and dehydrated,
tired. I mean, guys were hurt. I mean, luckily none of them fatally or seriously injured, but you know, we had a couple with twisted ankles, one with a messed up swollen knee. I mean, it was enough that we're gonna have to deal with. So
I didn't have a crotch in my pants. My cock was hanging out all over the place. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I literally, I don't know why I do this. I did this all the time, but like we got off the bird, like right when we got into Doab, got off the bird, knelt down for, security halt. And then we were going to lay down. When I knelt down, I heard a rip. I'm like, damn it. I looked around like, fuck, man, seriously? Then it just got worse from there. I was ripped open from my belt line all the way down to my knee. Just open. I didn't wear underwear, so I'm like sick.
There you go.
That was pretty dope.
So
I only brought one uniform.
Well, we didn't expect to be there as long as we were to begin with, or go through what we went through.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that was
So then after that, after they were blowing shit up and stuff, because they stayed on station while we moved. Correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we had air support. So there was 2 pilots. The last 2 rotary birds, they were Kiowa pilots, actually got in trouble. They were supposed to leave like 10 minutes before they actually did because of the weather moving in. And that's why they ended up landing, I think, in Metterlam because the ceiling on the storm came in and they were unable to fly. So they ended up landing in Metterlam and didn't even make it back to their base. And that's what they got in trouble for.
Well, I
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad they did because you never know. Like when you're moving around, especially after all that, it's like when we were going to move into the district center, it's like it was nice that they were there just in case, So,
well, we moved under Spooky and Spectrum, the 2 AC-130s. They were on station. The Kiowas and everything else was gone at that point.
Okay.
So we moved while we still had them on station before they had to leave.
Oh, you're saying okay? That's okay.
That's what we had for air support.
I remember it was all like after the main fighting was done, I was like asleep on my fucking legs. Like it was all pretty much a blur after that. Honestly, I barely even remember moving into the district center, and we're making it in there and like clearing some buildings and stuff, and being like, "All right, we're clear. We're just gonna hang out here now."
Yep. Because the SF moved in first. I remember that they moved in, cleared some of it. I think they pushed across the river, if I remember correctly, and cleared some of them on the other side too. Not the whole village, but some of them. Because was it the next day we went into the village? Yeah. A few of us went across and went in.
Yep. Yeah, doing like a BDA / make sure that everything's kosher over here, essentially. Yeah, it was a pretty short foot patrol, but
yeah, it wasn't a very big district or town, village, what do you want to say anyways? Small to begin with, but
yeah. Remember those energy drinks?
Which one?
Did you take any of those ones? Did you grab any of those energy drinks that were down there? I think they're energy drinks or they're fucking cracking a can or something. The ones with the ephedrine in them.
No.
They had like a bowl on them. I think it was like a silverish can. They were stubbies.
No. So the only ones I ever drank over there were the
Boom Booms.
No. We sell them over here. You find them once in a while. They're 99 cents. Rip it. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, those came from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about the
no,
fucking
I never
hot
drank
drinks, dude.
No.
Dude, when we were going through Doab, we went through this building that was like I think it was like some Afghan fucking drugstore. And we're like, what's in this freezer? Or in this little fridge? We open it up like, damn, drinks. Thanks, guys.
Probably not the drink you're thinking of.
I don't know, man, but it perked me up real good.
Well, I'm sure it did.
It was wild. We were trying to read the ingredients and stuff, and some of them were in English, some of them were in not English, and I don't know, Pakistan, I don't know, Arabic or whatever. And I remember seeing one of the ingredients, the only one I really remember was ephedrine. I'm like, I think I remember that like being a big deal in
Sounds
America.
Like it was more of a drug or medicine than it was a drink.
Yeah, well, it's banned in America, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's a reason.
I think you remember those fat pills, Hydroxycut. They originally sold Hydroxycut with ephedrine in it. They're like, ooh, FDA's like, no, can't do that. It's basically meth. But they had them in those energy drinks. That's pretty sick. They tasted like garbage. It like hurt to drink them, honestly. Like was really. It was like spicy.
Oh, man.
I drank a few of those. It was wild.
Yeah. No, I didn't drink anything like that over there.
Damn. All right. When we got in there, were you down by the hospital more?
I was in the 2-story building that I don't know if it was supposed to be like the A&A police building or what. I'm not sure. I was on the 2nd story of that. I set up there just in case we had to call for fire, but not that it mattered because the cliff was right above us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They could just push a big boulder off. They would have killed their mud hut.
Yeah. Because I was in one of those 2-story buildings too.
Yeah.
One of the ones. I think we're like just outside of the district center.
Yep.
Just in case it'd be like, I don't know, like right on the outside, I think, from what I remember. But
yeah, because there was a few small buildings. I think one of them was a school or something across like their little dry path mud road. But yeah.
Yeah, we shacked up there for like 3 days?
It seemed like fucking forever. We were planning for a day and we were there for a few.
Yeah, that sucked. Sitting there. And then they were just watching them all like come collect everyone up and the jingle trucks after jingle truck after jingle truck. I'm like, geez, oh Pete.
Yeah. They went right past Calagoosh and a lot of the guys were doing hide on them. They said you'd get like an arm that didn't match anybody. You'd get legs didn't match anybody. Some without heads.
Yeah.
Some that were just heads coming through. They were stopping them all.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I just watched them load them all up. I'm like, damn. That sucks. Probably shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have fought us, I guess. I don't know. It was a wild time though. That was weird. It's kind of a blur after that. Honestly, I don't think I fully recovered from that mission for like a few weeks. Honestly,
yeah, that put a hurt on everybody. I think.
Yeah, it was wild. Thinking back, I don't know. We had a bunch of Ambien and stuff, so that helped.
So my first deployment after that we talked about a little while ago, I ended up taking Ambien after that one because I couldn't sleep. But this last one, I slept, but it was 2 or 3 hours, you know, and then the typical. But that whole mission, the whole year over there was like that. Some days you'd get 2 or 3 hours and go back out, or you get 3 or 4 hours or whatever, and you get ambushed on a night you didn't have a mission. They'd fucking hit your base. So yeah, it made a difference.
Gosh, so this is gonna go back. It would have been right after I got back from leave. I remember I went to the gym with Smith and we were working out and stuff, and he was doing tricep over the head triceps with a dumbbell, you know. So he's sitting down doing these miles, right? Yep. I think he had like 100-pounder, and he's freaking, you know. And we got hit with a Chinese 107 that hit right next to the gym, and like the lights went out and shook the whole building. And I was like, I remember hearing was thunk. Ow. I'm like, what? We ran out and jumped in the bunker and stuff, you know, and we, you know, it was all done and stuff. I'm like, are you okay? Like, what? Did you get hit by something? He's like, I dropped a fucking dumbbell on my head. I'm like, oh shit. He's like, dude, my neck is fucked. He like dropped down straight on the top of his head. He's like, that was so funny. Because one time it is, I scraped my arm on the bunker going into it, and someone's like, "Oh man, did you get hit by shrapnel?" I'm like, "Yeah, you should probably get a Purple Heart or something, right?" And they're like, "Oh, dude, seriously?" I'm like, "No, I scratched on the way in." I wish I could have kept that light going, so I could have gotten a Purple Heart, but whatever, you know. Didn't feel right about it. It's just like my arm was bleeding a little bit. I'm like, "Yeah, totally, dude. I got hit by shrapnel in there." Do you have any like funny stories from deployment, like something that?
Well,
or are you just all business?
Well, I'm trying to think. Not really. I mean,
damn.
Fortunately, I was busy most of the time I was over there.
I don't know if I should.
None that stand out that I can really think of. That
really.
I mean, obviously, we all joked around about when they brought in the guy with the bullet hole in the ass cheek. You know.
Oh yeah.
We all joked around about that.
Our guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah. To get the Ricky shit, you know, you don't hear, you know, you see it in the movie, you don't think it happens, and then it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, how the hell?
Because didn't Forrest Gump get shot in the ass in Vietnam? Yeah. They gumped him.
Yep.
They gumped him up real good. That was actually pretty funny because he didn't like get seriously injured. But like, damn, dude. But I remember when that happened, oh my gosh, it's so stupid. But he was like, we were setting up a TCP and he was outside, you know, out from behind the vehicle, you know.
Yep.
And he was just like fucking around, and then all of a sudden like started getting popped off. He's like, ah! He fucking fell down. We're like, oh shit! Like you all right? He's like crawling over. He's like, I'm hit. And we're seeing like, dude, get hit right in the ass. And he's like, oh, it hurts. And he's like screaming. You know, granted, like, that would hurt.
Oh yeah, really
bad. You know, really bad Charlie horse right in the ass.
Yep.
But we're like, dude, you're gonna be okay. And he's just like, oh, seriously? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. And he calmed down because I think he was worried that it went through like his hip or something like that and fucked him up worse than it did. Like, you know, I don't know what went through his mind when he got shot.
Well,
but taking a 7.62 to the butt cheek would still be like, oh my god, like,
that would hurt.
Instant regret on whatever you were doing to have that happen.
So I did have. It's more embarrassing than anything, but we were doing a dismounted, and as you know, walking with night vision on, there's no depth perception. So we're dismounted in the dark. We had to go up a hill. We're walking up, and a lot of them rocks, you know, it's like walking on ice almost. You know, they roll.
The shale.
You're not for sure. Yeah, you just start sliding back down. So we're walking, and sure shit, I trip. Feet go out from underneath me. My muzzle goes in the rock in front of me. butt stroke myself right in the forehead, crack my eyebrow open. I'm like, well, this is fucking cute. You feel it run down and you're like, shit, and everybody's like, you all right? You can't turn your light on because you're trying to stay covert.
Right.
I'm like, this ain't good. So I had that. There's probably somebody out there that still has it. So first sergeant let me I got away with a lot. Just because of what I did, job. I took on the extra part as being first sergeant. So I was one of the few, if not probably the only one at our base that walked around with a personal plate carrier on. First sergeant never said anything, never made a big deal out of it. Rarely did I wear my iPro as we're supposed to, because you can't use binos with iPro on worth of shit.
I lost my iPro immediately after I got in country. So
yeah, into your bag, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I lost it real hard.
So, and most times on mission, especially if we take contact, my long sleeves were up to my elbows because I didn't take time to pull paper out of my pocket.
Naturally,
take my pen, my marker, and write on my forearms, and that's what I used to keep my data, calling for fire and everything else. So we had hidden IED on the Philly side. The whole front end of the truck actually ended up like 50 or 60 feet off the road up on a hill. Like it blew the whole motor, front axle, everything off. So obviously we had to wait for recovery to come out and everything else. Well, in the meantime, I was out controlling aircraft, looking, see if we can figure out where it came from, where the firefight was coming from before the bird left and everything. Somebody took a picture of the MRAP with the front end completely blown off it. Me standing there, I had my white fake Oakleys stuck in my headband and my helmet.
Hell yeah.
And I had my arm sleeves rolled up. I was writing on my arm, and one of the guys made one of those memes that said, Staff Sergeant Chatfield, the site of Sergeant, how'd it go? It was Staff Sergeant Chatfield's plate carrier had a price or whatever it was. No iPro, whatever, listed off a whole bunch of stuff they carried. My Garmix wristwatch that I had for my GPS that I use most of the time on. They had all that listed off. The bottom line said, Staff Sergeant's face when First Sergeant sees him with no iPro on and all this listed price list.
Yeah.
So that's floating around somewhere. I might even have it on my computer at home. I haven't looked, but is it framed?
Nice. I was gonna say, someone had to print it off and put it somewhere, right?
Wife knows where it's at, evidently.
Yeah. So. I had the same pair of those white Oakleys.
Yep.
Yeah. Fucking.
I miss them.
Yeah,
I don't know where they went.
They're definitely fake. 100%.
I probably did have them when we got together, but I don't know what you probably did. You hated them.
What'd you call your fake Beats?
Oh, Beats by Muhammad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We had these, and these were Folkleys that we had because they were bizarre Oakleys. Like, oh, Mr. Oakley, from America. I'm like, bullshit. I'll give you $3.
I need
like,
a new
oh, Mr. No. Like, I got $3, buddy. He's like, okay.
They'd still take it. It didn't matter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I rocked those fake Oakleys. I even rocked them stateside for a little bit until they got they were so like sun-beaten, and the plastic obviously it wasn't real. So, but it got so sun-baked where it just like shattered, just fell apart eventually. I'm like, yeah, well, good thing I didn't get like shot in the eye, I guess, because they were not Z87 like it said on the frame.
No. No, they were not. So yeah, I don't know where mine went. Like the wife said, she probably threw them away.
Yeah, mine just deteriorated off my face as I was wearing them, I think.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild. I'm not gonna say his name because this might be mildly embarrassing to him, but one time when we got our B huts, we were sitting there hanging out, and like our B huts, the walls didn't go up all the way. So they were, if I jumped on my bunk, I could hop over and be like, "What's up, dude?" And he'd go, "Oh, not much, bro." One time I hopped over and I was like, "Hey man, want to go to Chow?" I'm like, "Oh." I hopped over, "Want to go to Chow?" And it was in the middle of intimate time with himself.
Oh.
I was like, "Oh shit.
Sorry, man.
Just give me like 5 minutes." I'm like, okay. Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was one of my defining moments of that deployment. Like, I'm so sorry. It should have been more of an awkward walk to the chow hall, but it was fun.
At that point, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I did not let him live that down forever. It was awesome.
We made a artillery or a fires calendar. So we posed in our underwear and made calendar. Commander and First Sergeant thought that was really impressive.
Oh, I bet they did. I bet they did, dude. Damn.
Yeah.
12 pictures.
I don't think we made much money.
I'm sure you didn't.
No.
You could have. You should have tried selling to the Bizarre people.
Well, it probably could have.
They could sell them off to. Well, I guess I don't know who would be buying that. That's Afghan. Chicks don't have any fucking rights over there, so they're probably not like looking at.
Yeah, their property over there, so they're considered property, not. Yeah,
you barely see past her slit.
Yep,
a little slit in their thing.
Yep.
What do they call them? Schmuck or something. But
so
no. Okay, so going back. Okay, so after the deployment and stuff, we came back home. And what? So did you work as a mechanic?
Yep. So I stayed working as a mechanic over at Zips. So that we got back in July.
Yeah,
we got back in July. Met my wife now in September. Worked as a mechanic for a few years. Built a new house and was at that point working full time for myself with my brother. Ended up going back to work because I ended up living paycheck to paycheck pretty much at that point, trying to run our own business.
Is it a mechanic shop?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Doing mechanic shop, towing and repair stuff. And then in end of 2017, I ended up getting hired full time as a police officer.
Okay. So what made you you mentioned earlier that you're interested in law enforcement before.
Yep.
Was it like just a long standing thing where you're just like,
I think it was a combination of things. Some of it came down to tired of getting greasy and dirty and busting my knuckles for a living. Ready for a change. We had one child on the way already. Our oldest son was already born. I think we had one on the way, and the wife's like, well, if you're going to do it, now's the time. You ain't getting any younger. Ended up actually having our second son before I went to the police academy. So we had a baby at home, and 2-year-old was he at the time, 1.5 years at the time, 2 years. And the wife took care of him for 18 weeks while I was at the academy. So
damn,
she had a lot on her plate as well. So
it's a lot.
It is
to do, and she's working full time too.
Yeah, at the time she was.
Yeah. Okay. Damn, that's a lot. So basically, how's all like the transition from being in the military and then like obviously being a mechanic, but like how is it like being a cop? I guess is it
so actually becoming a cop actually was a relief to me. It was a little easier on the body, the mind in a way. But then you had the brotherhood to look back, kind of like the military we had. You had that support of the guys you worked with, just like you could count on the guys overseas. You had that adrenaline rush that you would have doing the job. I get that now. You never know what you're it's something different every day. There's a lot of benefits as far as law enforcement, but there are some days that you have your bad days. You still got to deal with things. You got the calls that, affect you, kid calls, death, stuff like that does play into it. That makes for long days, hard days.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I just feel like that's definitely one thing that I guess veterans, especially that kind of deal with, is being in a job where that camaraderie and stuff is so tight, where it's just like we get out. A lot of guys, I feel like, just get kind of lost, and I think that's why there's a lot of veterans that do end up in law enforcement too, because just that alone is a pretty big deal for guys.
You go in the military, especially if you deploy, you get that rush. Some people say it makes you feel alive again. Makes you connect to your past, be able to cope with it. And then you go in law enforcement and you get a lot of that is the same. You still get that rush. You get that high, some people call it. You got that brotherhood, people you can count on, you can talk to, that some people don't understand and will never understand. So that is why I think I connect so much, and I still love every day going to work. And I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, and every day is different.
It is.
So it's like I've fallen victim of that, where it's like getting out of the military, getting a civilian job, and it's good and everything's good. Back home, it's everything that you kind of look forward to when you get out of the military. Being back at home and around family and all that stuff, and not having to worry about getting deployed or training or going out and doing training for a month at a time and yada yada, or moving every 3 3 or 4 years, but it's hard when you're like going to a job every day, coming back home, and just that monotony of just being like, okay, well, this is my life now. It's just kind of like the same every fucking day. And it's kind of, that's a hard transition. That's why I got into hunting so much and everything else. Yep. It gives you something to look forward to and like something to plan and do all that and everything else. But like law enforcement jobs like that, I could see how that'd be very, I guess, sought after from veterans too, just because not every day is the same and you have a lot of shit to do.
Yep.
So
yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
I need to see some. I need to see him sometime. This would be sweet. We're talking about Boer, and he's working down in Louisiana with Bilson Arms, and they have this really, I think it looks cool, but I've only seen videos of their forward charging ARs.
Correct.
So
no, they're nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got them set up, and I mean I can't wait to go out to the range with them. Nice. We haven't shot them yet, but I can't wait to go to the range with them.
I see one real bad. I've only seen the videos of him talking about them and stuff on like Facebook and shit. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, so going back to law enforcement and stuff, was that kind of why you got into it then? What we were talking about earlier, did you feel kind of like just?
I think it was
slogged down with daily life kind of thing, or just
part of it. I think was, and I still had the mindset of having interest and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is very supportive of what I do. Sometimes probably too supportive, but she told me, well, get in as reserve, start doing some ride-alongs, whatever you want to do. Find out. You're old enough to where you either need to do it or you just need to, forget about it type of deal. And so I started doing some ride-alongs both with the Charles City Police Department and Floyd County Sheriff's Office. Like I said, joined the reserves for the police department in August of 2017. Over the past few years, last couple of years ain't been so bad, but over the past couple of years, they've actually had quite a bit of turnover. So the opportunity came up. I applied, got hired full-time in December of 2017. Academy was in January. Another one of those things, sign up for something, and next thing you know, you're gone.
Yeah, right.
But so January of 2018, actually went to the police academy down in Des Moines. Okay. Graduated. Actually, our graduation was during an ice storm, so nobody was able to make it down. Actually, I had to hitchhike home pretty much. Luckily, one of the other guys lived in Mason City, and I was able to get a ride to Mason City, and then my brother picked me up in Mason City to get me home. So graduated. I worked for the police department, working mostly overnights, late swings as a police department. Got hired at the sheriff's office in January of 2020, where I currently work at now.
Nice. How do you like being a deputy a little more? You said a little more roam a little bit, but
I do like the sheriff's office a lot better. There's different reasons to look at it. I felt this police department actually kind of got micromanaged as an officer on how they wanted things done and everything. When I got hired at the sheriff's office, I never looked at it this way, but the sheriff told me, well, one thing you got to remember, as a police chief, he still works for a board of your city council. He works for that city council and for your mayor. The sheriff technically don't work for anybody. He has to get his budget approved by the board of supervisors for the county. But as far as how he runs his office, that's how he runs his office. So looking back after hearing that and getting that kind of mindset, I understand why some things are done different at a police department and why it seems like you're being micromanaged versus as a deputy.
Mm-hmm.
So I still feel there's a lot of things over there that get micromanaged. That isn't, in my opinion, fair, and it makes it kind of ties the hands of an officer on how they communicate and work with the public versus the way I can operate. So
that makes sense.
Yep. So I like being at the sheriff's office. Get more ground to cover, more people to interact with. So it is a lot nicer. I can still go in when there's stuff going on in town, or if I get intel, of a crime's going on or whatever, I can still go work inside the city doing some of that stuff. We try to leave it to the police department to take care of because obviously it's their town. They should be taking care of it. But we do assist with them. We do back them up. We do help them out a lot still. So
that's good. That's pretty nice to have like that, I guess, rapport with the, coming from the police department, then transitioning to the sheriff's office. It's probably having that rapport with the guys and everything else is probably pretty nice too, I guess, whenever you do have to go
absolutely
into the city and everything else.
Yep. And we still get times as a deputy, there's times we are out alone. We try not to do it, obviously, with the environment we work in and what we do as a job is not always the safest, but there are times we are alone. But if something major comes on, the police department does send a car out to help us if needed. And then we also have, obviously, relationships with the bordering counties that will assist depending on where they're at and stuff, too.
I was going to say the rapport goes past the county lines, too.
Yep.
That happens so often. And what year did you become a canine handler? Was that 2 years ago now?
We got the dog, about 2 years ago in September is when I did the class. So it would have been, I think our first day on the job was like, the 3rd of October of 23, if I remember correctly. No,
and you're the only canine handler.
Correct.
And there hasn't been one for quite some time in that area, correct?
Correct. Floyd County, last time Floyd County had a canine was about 25 years ago.
Damn.
Oh, shit. Really?
Did you have to really push for that?
So I actually proposed to our sheriff. Well, I talked to our sheriff back in 2020 or 21. I mentioned something to him about a canine. And at that time, he's like, well, we need to find the right person. He goes, we're not just going to jump into something. He goes, we need to make sure it's going to work for whoever's getting the dog, their family, not only the department, but family, the community. We got to make sure our stuff's in line before we just jump into something. So then COVID hit. We talked about it again, but COVID hit. He didn't want to ask the community for donations because our canine program strictly run off of donation and fundraising. No tax dollars go into our program. A lot of departments actually run that way. I believe Mitchell County's kind of the same way. Yep. It's all off of donations and fundraising. So COVID hit. Things weren't right. We end up having our daughter all about that same time and everything. So then it would have been 2022. I proposed it to again the sheriff. This time, knowing we didn't have COVID stuff going on, a lot of things weren't happening. Yeah, granted, we just had our daughter not long before that, but we were kind of established. We already had 2 kids. Everything was good. I went to the sheriff, proposed it to him again. This time I had everything kind of figured out all the way down to his toy. Figured out what the cost was going to be. Everything was planned out, how we were going to fundraise it, what it was going to take, the whole works. Went down, sat down with him, talked to him, and he's like, yep, we're good. He goes, I'm on board. He goes, but I want you to make sure the department's on board. So this was end of July. End of June. So beginning of July, we had a quick meeting, proposed it to the department, made sure everybody's on board. Obviously they were. A lot of the guys wanted a dog, knew the benefits of having a dog, not only to our sheriff's office, but the whole community, surrounding communities. The benefits were way more than not. It actually went really fast after that. I think less than 2 weeks we had. Our budget was proposed somewhere around $30,000 to buy the dog, equipment, training, everything. We surpassed that within 2 weeks. Mike Malstead Motors actually cut us a check for the cost of the dog and the training. So all the other funding paid for equipment, outfitting car, stuff like that. Nice part on that was the cage or the kennel that we got for the car actually came from the police department. Their program, they ended up getting rid of a dog due to some unforeseen incidents that were happening. Wasn't working out with the dog and the handler. So they got rid of the dog. We actually ended up swapping cages out of cars to get the canine car. So that got us upfitted real quick. And we were able to get the dog in August, trained in September. And we thought what was supposed to be a year to get up and running turned into less than 3 months. We had a dog on the road. So worked out really well for us.
That's awesome. That's really cool to see the community come together like that and realize the benefits of something like, having a dog and everything else. So.
Correct. We always joke around because, people hear of a canine program, getting a dog, having a dog on a department stuff. People hand out money for that benefit of having a canine program and everything. You go ask them, hey, we need to get new body armor for an officer. They're like, you'll be fine with your old one. And it's a sad truth to a lot of it, though. I mean, people support their departments and stuff, but for some reason, you start talking canine programs, people start handing out money and supporting it.
It never hurts either when you've got a business that's pro law enforcement and needs tax write-offs.
Correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, Mike Malstead's actually, Mike Malstead and his family and his dealership and stuff have been more than helpful, not only with our canine program, but with law enforcement in general in Floyd counties. I mean, they help out tremendously. Mm-hmm. I mean, they let me train with the cars out there. I call them, set up for training dates and stuff for
that's cool.
A whole bunch of canines in the area. They bend over backwards to help us. And I mean, it's just the endless support that Mike and his family and the whole organization, the whole business is
that's awesome.
Beyond helpful.
So I bought my first car.
Really?
Was it?
Yeah. Lincoln LS.
You wrecked it, didn't you?
I bought it from a big guy around here called Slim.
I didn't fucking wreck it. Well, this is the first car I bought by myself.
Oh, yeah.
My money.
And you've had some pretty eventful things with him, haven't you? I mean, he's been a huge asset.
So in the 2.5 years, not quite 2.5 years, we've had him on the road. We've had probably close to 120, 130 deployments.
Damn.
We've obviously had him up here in Osage and Mitchell County 2 or 3 times at least I can think of off the top of my head. State Patrol's utilized him. I actually had first street bite a couple months ago now, I think.
Really?
Month and a half, 2 months ago. I had a first street bite assisting U.S. Marshals on a semi-barricaded subject.
How do you do on
that? Did good. Actually, the guy, I'm going to say the team leader of the group that was there, he was actually watching on a camera, the robot camera that they had in the room, so they could see him. He was uncooperative. Probably not going to get too into detail, but he was uncooperative, didn't know if he was armed, and we deployed him in after countless times of trying to get the guy just to surrender. And even after engaging the suspect, the guy kicked him multiple times and everything. The dog kept hold of the suspect for time needed, and the guy ended up actually giving up afterwards. So
nice. Well, I would too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I would not want to get bit by any dog. So
that, yeah.
They don't even talk about how many times the dogs are effective just by being there.
Correct.
You hear the bark, you hear that I'm gonna send the dog, and then they hear the bark and they'll come out. It's like that. I don't think that's as recognized as when they do take a bite, because it happens a lot.
Most canines do not get a live street bite in their career.
Yeah, I believe it.
Most of the time people give up. They're running from you or whatever, and the dog comes out. They hear the dog bark. They look back. They see there's an actual dog there.
Oh, shit.
Most time they give up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to outrun a dog.
Fuck no.
Most cases, you're not going to hide from a dog. So most people do give up.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
we've had
suck.
4 or 5 times where we've had them out to where they gave up before we deployed the dogs. So came out of whatever they were hiding in or decided to cooperate. Had one instance where a guy was uncooperative on a traffic stop. Got to the point where he thought he wanted to fight. Luckily, never had to go hands-on. I didn't even deploy my dog. My dog was watching out the car and barked, and the guy looked at me and goes, "You got a dog?" And I was like, "Yep." I'm standing with my finger on the button, getting ready to push it, thinking he was going to come out. The guy was bigger than me. I'm not going to deny it. And he decided, well, I'll take the ticket instead. Well, he got informed, "You're not getting a ticket no more. You are going to jail." He did. But, yeah, so we've used him quite a few times. Used him on a missing kid. The kid was actually located. Actually, I had Jackson Steinberg down on that one too. The kid was located before we did with the dogs. But, yeah, we've had multiple instances where he's been utilized and been a great asset.
That's awesome. How nice too, because you mentioned earlier, sometimes you're solo. It's not the preferred method, but we talk about this with Jackson too. You're never solo. You've always got that. You
do.
And that's got to be just.
So I always wanted you to be a canine handler.
You got to be full time. I'm just a rent-a-cop.
Yeah,
hey,
I know.
We're gonna have an opening.
Jackson's
You're probably not gonna get a dog right away. You have the opportunity on the road. We got an opening coming up.
Right. Well, it's like Jackson's a giant. Like, he's fine.
Yeah, I would love.
He's a big motherfucker. So it's like He'll be all right. He'd be all right.
See him
himself,
and Rev coming.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I won't be able to catch you, but he will. Woo!
It won't be long. It won't be Rev no more, though. The old boy's going to retire.
I love him so much. My favorite thing, it takes a lot to reach the album in my phone of favorites. It's a lot of like things I have to know or like, I don't know, pictures of important things. But in my save file, I didn't know that canines got issued a photo ID that looks just like a driver's license. Do you have one?
No, my dog does not. He does have his own badge. He's got his own badge.
Nice.
That's adorable. Yeah. I had no idea. And Jackson was like, we were in the office one night and he brought it up. He's like, I think he had to use it for something. I don't really remember. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Rev has an ID. He's like, yeah, it looks just like a driver's license. I was like, let me see it right now. And they even had Rev pose with the little blue thing, like in the courthouse. Like he went and sat and posed for the picture, and he has a little picture. I was like, this is the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Nice.
I think you get discounted dog food.
Maybe.
I made that up.
Yeah.
How long what's the lifespan of a working dog? And not lifespan, but like working lifespan.
Just depends on the dog. Unfortunately, a lot of them do get medical before they get a healthy retirement. If they do, though, a lot of the dogs, I know a lot of dogs right now, they're still 8 years old, still running strong. So it kind of depends on what your agency wants, the dog's medical, and truthfully, handler, what the handler feels. Like Mitchell County's dog's actually getting ready to retire right now, as you guys are familiar with, and they've been battling medical, but he's been able to work. Some days are tough, some days aren't, but he's still able to do the duties. And the talking with their handlers, I do quite frequently. Their handler's like, well, if he can still perform the duties, we're good. But the point he can't, he needs to retire. Last thing you want to do is get put in a predicament to where you have a canine and you need to utilize him, but he's not able to jump through that car window. He's not able to run up that stairs after a suspect. He's not able to go through thick wooded area for a subject that ran from you and is hiding. You want to make sure that when you're able to use that dog, the dog's physically capable of doing it, healthy for doing it, and the dog's not suffering trying to do it. Because it's not fair to the dog, and it's not fair to the public or the agency that's trying to utilize him.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's dogs 8, 10 years old that are still on the road.
Dang.
So
how old's your dog?
Just turned 4 in September.
Okay. Is a shepherd?
So he's a Malinois Shepherd Cross.
Damn.
So
he's extra fucking fast. Best of both worlds.
Yep. So it just depends. A lot of people say they want a shepherd because they're easier to handle. A lot of that comes down to the owner, the handler, the training. You want a good dog, you got to put a lot of training in. And I do. I try to get as much training as I can. Sometimes it gets tough, and my wife has to remind me, it gets tough trying to balance that work, training, family life, because obviously our job can be demanding enough. Working, getting called out, court, sleep can be tough sometimes, but you still got to make sure the family life's good. And she does a good job reminding me. Sometimes it does get overwhelming, especially, you do canine, you get presentations during the day, public presentations, going to schools, that kind of stuff. And it's easy when you're enjoying your job and enjoying doing what you're doing. It gets easy sometimes to forget that you have other responsibilities.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure.
So
I can definitely see that. So your dog, when he's like at home and stuff, is he just like your boy?
So he is very wild at times. He does calm down. Most of the time he does stay in the house with us. Most of the time he does have his kennel. A lot of time, even when he is out, he'll run back to his kennel just because it's his place. We have 3 kids at home, and when he's out, he does get a little rough sometimes, wanting to play, not trying to hurt him or nothing like that. He doesn't bite them or anything, but he does get a little rough wanting to play, and he's very, very social, so he wants to be on top of you. So my kids ain't very big, and at 80-pound dog, he wants to be on top of them. The other day, we got him out. I got to go to work. My son was laying on the floor, and he decided he was going to go pretty much roll on top of him so he can lay on his belly to get his belly scratched. And he's got, obviously, as a shepherd or a mal, he's got long legs and everything like that. When he's throwing them around, he's whacks the kids once in a while. And so we got to be careful. But when it's just me and the wife, we let him out at times. He comes out, he'll cuddle with you on the couch. He jumps in bed with her at times when he's out and about before we go to bed or whatever. So, but he's a very good family dog, and it's nice having him. Like if I run errands, something like that, if somebody stops by, tell you right now, if they come in the house and she lets them out, it ain't going to end well. He is going to protect the family, and there's no doubt in my mind. He does a very good job of making people know that he is in the house when they stop by and start talking. I mean, he will bark and let them know. So
that's funny. That's awesome. That'd be fun.
What's that?
They try.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So for training, obviously, we practice tracks. We practice a lot of things, and the kids enjoy taking his toy and running across the field and hiding in tree lines, stuff like that. And then we track them down. So they enjoy that. So
that'd be fun. That'd be probably a pretty fun part about having a canine and stuff like that is, figuring out a way to incorporate the family into training and all that stuff. It's
so
cool.
He listens. He listens to my wife, listens to my kids, unless I'm standing there. He'll look at me before he'll go over to him and sit by him, stuff like that. If they're giving him the command to heel next to him, stuff like that, or lay down, he looks at me most of the time. And a lot of time he'll still look at them, look at me, and be like, it ain't coming from Dad. So
he's like, you sure?
I cool. Still, at some point, I know I'll have to succumb to it. But we know whenever Jackson takes out Rev for any training, somebody will go out with him. Can he take a bite when he gets some training done and everything? I still have not done it because I'll never forget the first time. Gosh, this has been a long time ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. If it could really be that long, maybe like 4 years ago. Anyways, me and another jailer, we were both in the jail. And I think we were both there because our jail was really full for some reason. So we had to kind of double up on jailers, which we typically don't do. And then we had a lull and Jack came in and he's like, hey, can somebody come take a bite? I need to train. And the other jailer was like, yeah, we'll do it. I'll do it. And I was like, I want to watch. I want to see this go down and everything. And so we did it in one of the office training rooms. And, Jackson briefed us on what to expect. He's like, when I bring him in, he's going to be hyped up. He's going to be ready to find and do the thing. And I just remember the other jailer was sitting in the room, I think in a chair, just sat in a chair, he had the full suit on. He had the full suit on. And I just remember his face when Rev first went in the room. It was just like, oh, shit. No. And Rev was ready to go and he got him. And Jackson, he's so calm, but he's like, yep. Keep pushing your arm in his mouth. Like, just keep going. And he's just like sweating. He's like, am I doing it right? And I remember sitting there just like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good for a while. That because whenever I see Rev, it's good boy this. And, I love on him and everything. I'm like, I don't know if I know you would.
I do it.
I just haven't done it yet. There's been a couple times where I've came close. I'm like, if you can't.
Me when we got training day, I know who our victim is now.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it impacts the training.
Make a good video.
Yeah. We'll put that on your podcast.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be really good.
That'd be funny.
I'm like, if I have said before, if there's nobody else, I will. Like, let me know. But somebody else always like, yeah, I will. I'm like,
watching the videos of his new dog, I'd prep yourself with Rev.
Yeah.
Rev's an old boy. He still does it, but I'd take it from Rev first.
It's not even that I'm like fearful of it. I just don't want to look at him in that light. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's nice. He's a nice boy.
He's the best boy.
And then when you see him fucking trying to go work,
know.
It's like, I don't want to see him be mean.
But a lot of them, to them, it's a game.
Right.
I know. He's just being a good boy.
It ain't personal for them. They're doing it
it's
because that's
a
reward.
Yeah.
That's like throwing a tennis ball for a lab to go chase. That's no different. They're
I know.
Biting somebody's just their reward for whatever they're doing.
How do you reward them when they do something, like when you're training and they do some good?
It just depends. Each dog's a little different. My dog and Rev both have a toy, a ball on a rope that we use a lot of time for like narcotics and stuff like that. I think Rev still gets his ball when he tracks and doesn't get a bite. Sirius, I have a tug. It's made out of the same materials like our bite suits and stuff are. And he gets that. So if he doesn't get the bite, he gets his toy. A lot of the time, even if he does get the bite, I'll take him off and I'll reward him with his tug still, just for the fact of it takes away some of that personal of the person. He's still getting his toy afterwards. He still knows he did the right thing. He came off the bite. He gets his toy. He did what he was supposed to. So it just depends. Each dog's a little different. There are some dogs out there that they destroy their balls so much they literally have a piece of PVC pipe wrapped with a chunk of rubber tire, and that's what they get for a toy because it takes longer to.
So do you withhold it from them until they do something good, or
so
is like to make it like special? I don't know.
So like when you're training or whatever, you don't want to reward them if they're not doing what you don't want. So if you tell them to sit and they don't sit, they don't get their reward, because as soon as they get the reward when they're not doing what they're supposed to, in their mind, they're just like a kid. I'm going to get what I want anyways, so I'm just going to hold out and I'll get it. So you want to make sure that you're rewarding them as soon as they do what's right. And it's immediately. They sit, you give them their toy. If it's sit and stay, you determine how long it is. You don't want them to break that stay, so if you're training it and you know that's getting that 5-6 seconds where they're getting etchy and they're going to break it, you want to reward them because they know the longer I stay, and you can build up that long stay. So it depends, but you got to make sure it's consistent and you're not rewarding the bad habit. You want to make sure you break that bad habit, reward when they're doing the correct thing. So when they find the narcotic, they go into odor, they alert. If it's a sit or a lay down, whatever they're supposed to do for their final, you reward it as soon as you see it. You make sure it's done right. There's a little variance to every training style. That's kind of the most common, but you want to make sure you're not rewarding a bad habit. So you don't want to give it to them until they're doing what they're asked.
But I mean, like when you're back at home and stuff, does he have his toy ever? Or you like put it up?
Nope. He gets his toy only when we're training. We're
only
working.
When you're training. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what
he does get treats at home. I mean, he is just like a house pet for the most part when he's at home, but he still has his obedience that he needs to listen to.
So his toy is like specifically like you only really whip it out and give it to him when he does something like on the job. Well,
yep. Or if I'm training at home.
Or training at home, right?
Yep.
Okay.
He doesn't just. I mean, we go out and play fetch.
Yeah.
But it's still playing fetch with him is still just like we're working. I mean, he still has to out the ball like he's supposed to. He doesn't chase the ball unless I tell him to. If I throw the ball and I send him after the ball and I tell him to stop, he has to stop. I mean, it's still the same basis of training when you're playing with them,
right?
Because, like I said, playing with them is the same as work for them. They don't distinguish the difference between I'm at home, I don't have to listen. I mean, there's none of that. It's still, the obedience is still there for a reason.
Right. No, that makes complete sense.
And how cute is it that you can get the canine out on the job? You know, they do a serious job. They find an ounce of meth. They found a missing kid. They take a bite. And all they want is their toy.
Yeah.
All they want is their toy.
Yeah.
So, a while back, we had Jackson actually was at work. I don't know if you were working that night or not. We had a pursuit that came out of Mason City. They had three college kids that ran from Mason City cops over there. They chased them over into our county into Floyd. They crashed out by Rudd. 3 suspects. We were en route. We knew there was 3 suspects. They bailed out. So before I was even on scene, I called for Mitchell County's dog. So Jackson Steinberg was on his way down with Rev, and we got there. I started my track. I ended up tracking into Rudd past the campground to by their fire station. Steinberg was coming on, so I'm trying to communicate with him as he's getting close where I wanted him to go. Sirius was getting tired. It had been a lengthy track, or a fairly lengthy track at this point for him. We ended up finding the suspect by the fire station. So I have 2 of our other deputies with me. I have 2 state troopers with me. I've got troopers driving around in town. I got Mason City cops, Saragota County deputies, kind of all patrolling this area as we're trying to track and keep a perimeter to make sure they don't get out of it. We locate the suspect by the fire station. Obviously, I got the dog staring him down. Our dog, canine, is named Sirius. So he's staring down this guy, barking, carrying on. We're giving commands. I call him away from the fire station out of the dark where he was hiding, where the light wasn't. Give the commands over to one of the troopers. They call him back, prone him out. I mean, we're talking 4 feet away from the dog. He's proned out. Dog's carrying on still. Keeping the fear on this guy of, you don't do what you're told, you're going to get bit, obviously. And they take him into custody. Well, Steinberg is sitting off to the side, like watching this all go down at this point. He gets out of his car. He comes walking over, and Sirius is still hyped up. Like, I gave him his reward toy. He had his tug. Loved on him. Told him he's a good boy, everything else. But he still wants the suspect. Like he knows that was ultimately he should have got that bite. That was his ultimate toy, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And Trooper and everybody's like kind of keeping their distance, like, this dog's going to bite us if we get close. Probably wouldn't have. I didn't figure he would, but obviously they're keeping their distance. And here comes Jack walking over. Sirius, you're a good boy, like all hyped up. And he comes walking up. Sirius jumps towards him, jumps up on him like any house dog would do for loving. He's got his tug in his mouth. Jackson's scratching on him, loving on him. Everybody's like, you're fucking nuts. All the troopers are like, what the fuck are you thinking?
He's a handler.
Yeah, I don't care. He goes, he bites me, whatever. He did what he was supposed to. I'm like, well, yeah, it's one way to look at it.
Oh, that's funny.
We ended up getting all 3 suspects that day.
Nice.
With, between me and Jackson, and then one of the guys was by the car hiding in the tall grass. But we ended up getting all 3. So it worked out well.
Oh, that's cool. Man, that'd be a toy. It's one when I was a kid, we had this dog and he was a mutt, but man, we never like really trained him to hunt or nothing like that, but we ended up taking him out a couple different times and he was the best hunting dog. He was awesome. But like watching him work and stuff like that, I'm like, I can't about imagine what it's like to, be a cop and trust this dog with essentially your life and everything else, and watch him do his, man, that would be fun. It'd be cool.
I mean, there's a lot of rewarding points of being in law enforcement, but there's nothing better than having the bad guy sit there and tell you more or less to fuck off. You ain't searching my car. You ain't getting in my car, or running from you and hiding, and you deploy a dog and you beat them.
Yep.
You find them, you find the dope in the car, and there's not a damn thing they can do about it. I mean, it's very rewarding. When I got into the canine side of things, I am one that I look for a lot of narcotics. I says that's what drives me. Narcotics and thieves. Usually they go hand in hand. When you find one, you find the other. 9 times out of 10, somebody's stealing something to sell it to get dope. Just the way it goes. Sometimes it's not, but most of the time it goes hand in hand. Jackson says, I love finding dope, but there's nothing better than finding the bad guy after track. He goes, it's way more rewarding to watch your dog work and chase down a bad guy on foot.
That'd be sweet.
And after doing it a few times, I think he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times you're going to find the dope either way, or the dog's going to find the dope. It's small amount, whatever. But the fact of watching the look on somebody's face when they got the choice of either getting bit or getting in custody because you just tracked them down and they know they lost. I mean, it's like taking candy away from a kid. I mean, it's just the pouty look on their face usually is what you get. As I got beat. This is bullshit. It's like perfect. So
that would be cool. Well, awesome. Gosh, I think it's pretty much about everything. So we've been going at it for how long now?
2 hours, 45 minutes.
Nice.
See, that's a good one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like block off like right around 3 hours or so. Because we're gonna get you on earlier, but you're like, I got about an hour or so. I'm like,
that's not enough.
I just know that's not going to be quite enough.
No,
like,
that was the intro.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of cops on, and I've had a lot of veterans and stuff on. It's like I just know that it's like
just too many good stories.
We didn't even touch base on hunting.
I know, right? Yeah, next time. Like, you're not,
there you go.
You don't live like fucking 20 hours away or nothing. So
yeah, we're close by.
Easy. So
we're up here a lot.
Yeah. But I really do appreciate you coming on, Chatty.
Hey, not a problem. I was a little skeptical at first. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But now you're not.
You don't know what to look into. Yep. I'll come back.
Yeah, the microphones and the phones and shit like that. It's like it's really not like once you get past that, it's really not. It's pretty easy.
Yeah,
it's pretty chill.
It is.
So try to keep it pretty chill. So awesome. Well, I appreciate it again, man. Thank you.
Not a problem.